Collective, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am the Nosy Witch and this is my channel, Nosy Witch Tarot. If you have not been here before, I am very happy to have you here, and if you have been here before, I am very happy to have you here. Welcome back and thank you so much for returning and giving me the opportunity to read for you. I do collective pick a card readings here on YouTube, and today's topic is going to be who is spying on you and why. They're creeping, they're peeping, but what do they want with you? Listen, I'm the type of basic witch who celebrates Halloween all year, love to just make it my whole personality, and this will be my very first Halloween here on YouTube, so happy October. It's actually September as I'm filming this, but I'm pretty sure it'll be October by the time it goes up, so happy early Halloween if you celebrate. And with that in mind, I thought let's try and do a little bit of a spooky theme today. Let's get out our horror stickers, let's see who's creeping. I'm not trying to actually freak you out, we're not channeling Joe from You today. We're hopefully not channeling any of these characters that are in front of you. This reading is intended as a bit of light-hearted fun and entertainment. So with that said, if you do not recognise the person I'm talking about in a pile, it doesn't mean someone is stalking you or someone's going to lock you in their basement. I think 99% of you, this will be someone you know in some kind of capacity. And I'm more than anything just here to confirm what your intuition already knows. So if you're listening and something's not sounding right, that's just a sign that it's either not your pile or this is just not your reading today, and that's okay. These are collective readings and they're not going to resonate for everybody, nor would I expect them to. Also, please be aware with this kind of reading, I really don't know who is going to come through until we look at the cards. I always try to be extremely honest about what I'm seeing, but if we happen to pick up on a person or a situation that you are just done with and you no longer want to hear about it, please feel free to give that particular pile or this particular reading a miss if that's what's in your best interest. I never want to encourage you to stay in or return to a relationship that is harmful to you. So please, use your own judgment, use your own discernment. If someone shows up here and you're thinking not this bitch again, no way in heck am I letting them even glance in my direction, that's fine. You do not have to accept anything as your story if it simply isn't. Take what's for you and leave the rest for someone else. There's obviously going to be a lot of different situations showing up within a collective reading, so just bear in mind, I'm literally just here to read the energies. This could be a crush, it could be an ex, an acquaintance, a friend, a mutual friend, a family member, a colleague, it could be anyone, but we're going to do a deep dive on who they are and what they want. So as usual, your reading will be split into two main sections. We will be starting off by looking at a few oracle cards from various decks, and these cards are intended to represent the overarching energy of this person and the connection. I would encourage you to use the oracle portion of your reading as an energy check and for confirmation you have chosen the right pile. We will then be moving on to the tarot portion of the reading, where we will be asking 4 main questions, and we are going to be looking at 4 cards at a time from your chosen deck for answers to each of these questions. The first 4 cards will be an elaboration on what was discussed throughout the oracle. We'll be looking at the overall connection in further depth and asking who is this and what is their current energy. We will be looking at the next 4 cards and asking why are they spying on you, what do they want from you. We will then move on to the next 4 cards and we'll be asking how are they feeling about you. Finally, we will be looking at the last 4 cards and asking what are their next actions, what are their intentions. We will then be closing the reading with some guidance from the Moonology Oracle deck. So let's do a brief rundown of the piles here. Oh, by the way, I know a lot of you just probably put these readings on in the background and you just kind of listen to them. I know that I do that with a lot of readings and you might not actually be watching other than to pick the pile. But just if you think that the setup is a little bit different today, that's because it is. I was going to say renovating, but I'm not renovating. I can't afford to renovate. I'm just moving stuff around in the room that I do tarot in. So that's why the camera setup has changed a little bit, or it might have done, or you might not notice a difference. But if the lighting is a little bit off, I'm still working out the way that I want to do my camera setup and lay things out. So just a little disclaimer there to those of you who have noticed that something's a bit different. But yeah, let's do a rundown of the piles. Over here we have pile 1 and the Prism Tarot and the Jason sticker. That is pile 1 with the Prism Tarot and the Jason sticker. Here we have pile 2 with the Rainbow Tarot and the Twins from the Shining sticker. That is pile 2 with the Rainbow Tarot and the Twins from the Shining sticker. Here we have pile 3 with the Teddy Tarot and the Patrick Bateman sticker. That is pile 3 with the Teddy Tarot and the Patrick Bateman sticker. And here we have pile 4 with the Weird Cat Tarot and the Tiffany sticker. That is pile 4 with the Weird Cat Tarot and the Tiffany sticker. Once you have picked a pile, please head head to the pinned comment or the description box below. Timestamps are listed there, and the timestamps will take you to the start of your chosen reading. You are also very welcome to choose more than one pile if more than one is calling to you today. Before I get started with these readings, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and for taking time out of your day to listen to my readings. It really does mean the world to me, and I notice every single like, every single comment, and every single new sub. I really love reading your comments and interacting with you guys, and I'm just really grateful you're here today. And if you haven't done so already, please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. I'm very slowly working towards reaching 1,000 subs. I was fortunate enough to hit all the watch hours I need to be monetized a few months ago, but I have not yet hit 1,000 subs. So doing any of those things helps a lot with this whole algorithm thing, which I really don't understand. It just lets me know that you enjoy this content and you want to see more of it. I'm also always very open to topic suggestions, and since I have such a small platform and not too many people suggesting things, that means that your suggestion is probably more likely to get picked, which is all the more reason to sub to me. Just saying. But with that said, I really appreciate you being here, and I hope you enjoy the reading. I'll see you at your chosen pile, collective. Hi Pile 1 Collective! If you chose the Prism Tarot and you chose the Jason sticker, you are in the correct place. Welcome to your reading, friends. This reading is all about who is spying on you and why. They're peeping, they're creeping, but what do they want with you? We are going to be deep diving into who this is, their energy towards you and the connection, why they're spying, how they are feeling about you, and their next actions. If you would like a full breakdown regarding what this reading will entail, then please check out my introduction. I go through absolutely everything there. But as usual, we are going to start with the oracle reading / energy check. So I'm actually just going to pop your tarot cards to one side for now so that we can focus on these oracle cards. So let's have a look at what we pulled for you, Pile 1. We have got Game Over. We've got number 43, self-love, self-concern, self-healing, independence. We have got Love, Tomato, number 30. And we have got Locked Away. I'm just making sure that all the cards are in frame here because I'm not used to this camera setup. So I always like to start off by mentioning the numbers on the cards in case any of these are significant to you in terms of ages, dates, angel numbers, synchronicities you are seeing a lot of. These don't have to apply, but it's that little bit of extra confirmation if any of them do. So here we have number 43 and number 30. Oh, and what I'm actually going to do is just read from the guidebook regarding this Locked Away card in case that gives you a little bit of insight as well. Okay, so we've got Locked Away. There is an integral part of who you are that you are keeping hidden. You are locking it away and believe that keeping it this way is for the best for everyone around you, including yourself. Unfortunately, you can feel the weight and the tiredness of keeping this crucial facet of yourself hidden. When you hide part of who you are, the puzzle is incomplete. You need to see the worth and wealth contained in each chapter of who you are as a soul and as a human. The practice of self-love, that's interesting because we've got the self-love coming through. The practice of self-love, self-compassion. Does it say self-compassion? No, it doesn't. It says self-concern and self-healing, but still, that's interesting. The practice of self-love, of self-compassion, of acceptance, and of being at peace with oneself is needed here. For as long as this part of you remains locked away, there will always be an empty space in your identity, not only for yourself but for others. Do not deny the world of your true self. You are meant to be seen as a complete person, an intact soul, not one which is censored to make others feel more comfortable. So that could be relevant for you or for the person we are talking about today. Right, now on to the actual reading. Right, oh dear, not the love card showing up. Every time I say like, oh, this is just going to be a bit of fun and nice light-hearted reading, I feel like I just go and jinx myself because I say that and then we get words like love showing up and it's like shit got deep quickly. Does it always have to be this intense, Pile 1? What have you done? This person trying to spy on you is down bad for you, Pile 1. They feel like they love you, but they can't get to you though. With this locked away, you're inaccessible to some extent. I think it's actually driving them crazy because these are some strong feelings. It definitely feels like more than an attraction. I do have to remind myself here as well that there are many different kinds of love. So it is possible that this is platonic, like a family member or friend, but intuitively, I'd say for most people, this is likely to be more romantic. And I'm seeing a couple of different scenarios specifically. But in either scenario, I'm getting something about you having pulled back your energy, having disengaged from this person, and they are kind of in their feelings over that, or they have been. That's the energy they've been in as of recently, possibly currently. That is the overarching feeling I'm getting from you, but the connection itself is going to be different depending on where you're at on the timeline with this particular person. It's going to be differing levels of intimacy is what I'm getting, and obviously that's natural in a collective reading, because some of you are like, well, I never even got a chance to be intimate with this person at all. Things didn't even go anywhere with this person. You know, they didn't even admit their feelings for me, and that's okay. I'm going to cover different possibilities based on what I'm sensing here. But for some of you, this person spying on you is someone you once had like an established thing with. And I say thing in quotes because for some of you, this was more of a defined partnership, as in the two of you were together officially, whether that's dating or living together, marriage, there's love between the two of you. And for others of you, it was a thing involving some degree of intimacy or vulnerability, physically, emotionally, or otherwise, but it was more of a situationship or a friends with benefits or like a talking stage, but it felt like there were feelings here, even if they weren't totally expressed. And for those of you where that applies, I feel like you're either not in communication with this individual at all, because whatever it was you had going on has ended. Maybe you blocked them, maybe the two of you no longer have each other on social media, they no longer see you, or if you do have to communicate with them for whatever reason, it's strictly business, it's bare minimum, and they feel like they're no longer granted access to anything deeper. And for others of you, this is generally like a newer energy, and when I say newer, I'm not saying you have to have just like literally met them. I just mean it's new as in there's no romantic history, like nothing established, because maybe this is an acquaintance or a crush situation, but it never really got off the ground. Maybe somebody didn't shoot their shot. So it feels like they're sort of pining and yearning for you, but they can't quite get to you, or they don't know how to start something up. It feels like they've missed an opportunity here. Maybe it has been a while and they think it would be weird if they reached out now. Maybe your profile is private, so they can't really see what you're up to, or they're just kind of sneaky about it. Like they'll sneakily watch your stories, but they don't really say anything. It kind of feels like it was a game with this game over card. It could be that this is a person who is used to being chased and they wanted to see if you'd come to them, and you were like, I'm not doing that. So neither person wanted to give in, and now this person's having some big feelings regarding the situation. And obviously, I know I always say it, but use your own judgment here. If this is a person where you and them don't know each other very well, it's highly unlikely that they're literally in love with you. But I'm saying regardless of the situation, this person's feelings for you are stronger than expected. So if you only met this person once, it could be more that feeling of like love at first sight, as in when the two of you met, there was something special. They felt something they hadn't previously felt with many other people, or ever in some instances. So in this person's brain, maybe they're simplifying whatever that was to, I must love this person, because they don't know how else to explain this pull that they have. If it was this instant attraction and then nobody really made a move, or this person was seeing whether you'd come to them, maybe in their head they thought, oh, I'll forget about pile one like I do with everyone else. But the longer it's been that you haven't spoken, the stronger they feel. So in their mind, they're like, I must love them, because what the fuck is this about? Why are they playing on my mind? Some of them might think you've put a love spell on them or given them a love potion, with the imagery coming through on this card. For others of you where this has been like a more solid connection in the past, this person could very well be figuring out that they do indeed love you, that it's not just attraction or lust or strong like. They're like, maybe I do love pile one, because why else would I feel like this? And the longer the silence or minimal communication goes on, they're thinking more and more about that, and they're feeling like, yeah, it's definitely love. And the reason I'm emphasizing that they feel like it's love rather than it is love is because this person's version of what it means to love or be loved and yours might differ. And if this is a person who has disrespected you in any way in the past, what good is them feeling that way on the inside if they can't show you that they love you in the ways you need? So when I tell you this person feels this way, it's because that is their truth, but that doesn't mean it's the truth. Because if you say, well, this person can't love me, at least not in the way I require because they did XYZ, then that is very valid, and it's important that you listen to that and that you don't settle for less than you deserve. I'm not here to influence your behavior, I'm just here to offer clarity so that you can make an informed decision. I mean, I don't really feel like I need to explain that, pal one, because I know that you know that. So if you're here just for the clarity of like, it's nice to know that this person who effed me over is still longing for me, and they're going to have to keep longing for me from afar because I'm never going back there, or they miss their chance, then that's all good. Like, you do you. And I think you are doing as well with the self-love. You've been focusing on you. And I'm getting this phrase that you've pulled out of the race, and I'm hearing that you haven't been willing to compete for anyone's attention, anyone's validation. You haven't been willing to chase anyone physically or energetically because you're prioritizing realizing your needs and your boundaries. And I think this person wasn't expecting this. Either they're used to people running after them, or they thought it was a game until you kind of stepped in and said game over. And they weren't laughing anymore. The running shoe was on the other foot. They realized that you weren't playing anymore. You were no longer in the race. So for those of you where this was a thing, you could have felt like this person was playing a game or toying with you some of the time. It's like this person was almost treating you as an opponent rather than their teammate. It felt like a battle, maybe a battle of egos, and nobody was willing to give in. But now it's like, this person has ended up in their feelings over this. It could have felt like this person was testing you. And this specific example doesn't have to apply, but I'm almost getting, like, if this was a talking stage, for instance, and the two of you were texting, let's say, it could be like one day you take a bit longer to respond to their text because you're at work and you get your break late or something like that. They'd be the kind of person where, like, let's say you take 3 hours to respond, they would purposely double the amount of time it takes them to respond to prove a point. Like, because you've taken 3 hours, they'll take 6 hours or something like that. And whereas with you, it was for that genuine reason of, that's just when I got my break. With them, it's this more deliberate game playing that felt kind of immature and unnecessary. It could be that sort of cat and mouse of, like, if the two of you had a falling out, you would ice each other out until someone gave in and communicated. I think this person can be quite prideful and stubborn. I think this is the kind of person who feels as though they're giving their power away if they admit they like someone. And now I'm getting I Love You, It's Ruining My Life. I think it's from Fortnite by Taylor Swift. So it could be that you and this person only connected for a short time, but in the moment you were together, it felt very intense or all-consuming. Even if it's that newer energy, it's like when you met, even if there were other people around, it felt like it was just you and them in that moment. If it is that newer person, it could be like there was this palpable attraction there, but maybe this person didn't make any effort to get things going, especially if they're used to being chased. Maybe they're not used to making the effort, so maybe it was this thing of, like, who is going to send a DM first? Who is going to admit attraction first? Who is going to add the other person? And nobody did. So it's like this stalemate, and now you're focusing on you and this person is upset about it. They feel like they've missed the boat, like you're not playing with them anymore. Maybe they thought this back and forth would go on because now they're like, it's your move, pal one, but you've pulled yourself out of the game entirely. And now I'm getting the phrase rage quit for someone. Like, you were just fed up of the games. You were like, you know what? I think I'm just going to go back to The Sims and play on my own because at least I won't have to deal with this foolishness. My Sims don't give me this kind of grief. And meanwhile, this person still thinks you're in the game with them. And I'm getting this image of two animated characters in a game, like two avatars or something like that. And this person's character is going up to your character, kind of like prodding you. Do you remember, like, on MSN when people would nudge you? It's like that kind of energy. Like, they're trying to get your attention, they're emoting to you, but in actuality, you walked away from your Xbox 10 minutes ago and you just left them talking to nobody. So now they're kind of like, oh, like, is it really game over? I was having fun, I don't want it to be over. Well, they're not having fun now without you, feeling like they can't get to you. They're not having fun now, pal one. So gaming could be significant to you and this person, or just you or them. Individually, you don't have to have played together, but like, you could game, they could game, or if you do play together, you could have met via online gaming, or you have played something together in the past. That doesn't have to be the case. It's just a little bit of extra confirmation if it does. But I'm getting, they can't just put you back down and pick you up again when they feel like it. And it's making me think of, if you game, it's like, you might go through certain phases of being like hyper fixated on a certain game and you play it every day for weeks or for months, and then one random Tuesday, for no particular reason, you just decide to put that game down and you don't go back on it again for like 6 more months. And it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really have consequences. You can pick it up again at any point. There isn't really any repercussions. I'm thinking of sort of cozy games like Animal Crossing and that kind of thing, just more relaxing games. That could be significant. So maybe you felt as though this person was hot and cold, like one minute they would be heavily focused on you and then the next they weren't making you a priority. And they felt like that was okay because they're like, I can return to pal one whenever, I can pick them up again whenever. But that's not true. And if they didn't know that then, they're realizing it now, because it's very clear that you love yourself, you respect yourself. You're not somebody's neglected Nintendo sitting on a shelf waiting for someone to dust you off and press your buttons when they feel like it. Because it's like, now, if they're trying to turn you on, you're just kind of doing this face like, nah, no access, no entry. They were so concerned with who is winning, they didn't even notice you dropped out of the race, and now they feel like a loser regardless because they weren't willing to drop the games or to be open. For some of you, this was straight up self-sabotage on their behalf. These behaviors, although deliberate in a lot of ways, they weren't done with the conscious intention of like getting one over on you. It was more their attempt to avoid any perceived rejection by not giving too much away. And for those of you where this is a newer connection, I think there's confusion because maybe the attraction was very much mutual, you both could sense it. Then you were like, why hasn't this person made a move? And it's because this person is scared you'll reject them, that they're not good enough, so they'd rather just dip out. But that leaves you thinking, well, maybe they weren't that into me, and that couldn't be further from the truth. I don't think they actually know what to do with feelings like love, and I think that's why I was getting big feelings earlier, like that specific quote. It's almost like those reels where someone makes a joke about talking to men like you would talk to a child, like, oh, someone's having some big feelings today. This doesn't have to be a man, this is just like that kind of example that it's reminding me of. I do think this is somebody with a more stoic demeanour. Maybe they are quite emotionally closed off. They could be the type to repress or not take things seriously, like everything is always a joke. They could be quite a logical person, not the kind of person who would necessarily believe in like soulmates or love at first sight. I'm hearing until they met you, so that could be true for some of you. Maybe they're now looking into those things because this fascination towards you is quite inexplicable, but the more inaccessible you are, the longer time goes on, the more drawn to you they are, basically. You'd expect that the longer the silence goes on, the easier it will be to forget this, but that hasn't been the case, so now they're like, what the fuck? But they're worried it's game over here. They lost their chance or they didn't make the most of their chance and now they won't get another one. That's what they're concerned about. I keep hearing this message about dropping out of the game, so it could be a lot of little to no communication, but both people at some point or another sending each other a lot of energy. So maybe it felt like this unspoken battle of who was going to cave and communicate first. So although this is a reading about who is spying on you, it could be that actually this person tries not to spy on you all the time because they feel like even checking out your social media or something like that feels like they're giving their power away energetically. So it could actually be that this is a person who purposely doesn't look at your stories, or they look at your stories via a different account or a mutual friend or something like that because they don't want to admit that they're even interested in what you're doing. So when I'm getting this message about someone dropping out of the race, it's making me feel like this person was avoiding looking at you in any capacity because those feelings were so intense and maybe they felt you pulling back your energy, so they gave in and spent some time on your profile seeing what you're up to. And maybe they were trying to gauge, like, is Pal 1 thinking of me? Do I still have a chance? If they ever did. Maybe they're saying like, I wonder if Pal 1 even remembers who I am, depending on the stage of your connection. And you know, maybe they see you just living your life, dating other people, or just hanging out with friends, going to nice places, looking good, and that convinces this person like, I'm not even on their radar anymore, they dropped out of the race, they must not even think of me at all. But that could just kind of be a front. It could be that people on both sides are putting up a front, but on your end I think it's like you might still think of them, but at the same time you're going to go out and enjoy your life and do cool things because you're not wanting to put your life on hold for someone who isn't making any effort. Some of them could get a little bit more shy around you if you do see them in person. Some of you don't, but some of you will. Maybe they kind of blush like a little tomato and they don't normally do that. Someone here could get flushed, or someone here has, I'm seeing the word in my head, but I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce it. Is it rosacea? Or they like get red cheeks sometimes. That doesn't have to apply, but I'm getting an image now of like a cherub with those beautiful big rosy flushed cheeks. So if you've seen pictures of this person when they were younger, they could have kind of looked like that, angelic, like butter wouldn't melt. Or maybe that's you, or like someone here looks youthful. And we're also getting something about hot flushes or night sweats, like waking up and there's a slight pinkness or redness to someone's cheeks. I keep picturing that. Could be just that someone gets embarrassed easily, someone's bashful, or they are around you. The red also makes me think of like erogenous zones or Mars energy, very sensual energy. Someone maybe gets excited when you're around, or you do when they're around, or that's a mutual thing. But yeah, this person I think is definitely guarded, or they think that you're guarded with this locked away card. Maybe it's both, like you don't give too much away and neither do they. But I think they're a little less spiritual and more emotionally repressed than you. It's almost like they've got a soft spot, some kind of fluttery feeling in their chest, but they're keeping it locked up. Like, what is this? It feels alien, almost like you know, like a robot trying to wrap its head around love. Like, what is love? Like them trying to understand it, whether or not you have an actual romantic history with this person. I think that there's things that have been held back. Not everything has been expressed. This feels like unfinished business, very much so like unfinished business, at least on this person's part. They're feeling like you've pulled back or moved on. You're happy being independent, you're focused on you, and that just makes them want to interact with you more. I don't think they have done, because this is a reading about spying, but you know, if they catch tiny glimpses of you, even if they can only see your profile, let's say, like your profile picture, they might look at when you've changed it and they might think you've had a glow up, but that you're totally focused on you, or you're happy without them, like you don't even think about them anymore. And maybe that is true for some of you, but for others of you, maybe that's just the impression you're giving. But this person, I think, is upset that they're on the outside looking in. They don't have the full access to you. I'm hearing that you cancelled their subscription because they didn't have the funds to pay for it. I think that is to be taken metaphorically, but for some of you, it could be like you and this person once shared a Netflix or a Prime account, or a subscription service is significant in some capacity. But I think it's more like, you know, when you sign up to a certain subscription service, if you pay for the cheaper subscription, you're not going to have access to all the content. You can't pay $6.99 and receive the $12.99 service. It's not your fault that this person didn't have the means to metaphorically pay for their subscription. And with this locked away card, for maybe just one person out here, this person could have gotten in trouble at some point in the past and been literally locked away, like incarcerated. But I think for 99% of people, this locked away just refers to like a prison of their own making. Their heart is blocked, or they blocked their blessings, and now they feel blocked from you, or you had to unfriend them or block them, something like that. That is what I'm getting for the oracle portion of your reading. But let's dive a little bit deeper into this person's energy and take a look at your tarot pile one. I really hope you are enjoying the reading so far. But yeah, let's get started with the tarot and see what we pull for you. Hi Pile One Collective, welcome to the tarot portion of your reading. Without hesitation, let's get started and have a look at the first 4 cards we pulled for you. Okay, let's just move your sticker to one side and look at the first 4 cards. We have got the 10 of Wands. It's the 10 of Lightning in this deck, but it is the 10 of Wands. We have got the Ace of Wands reversed. We have got the Oracle of Clouds, which is the Queen of Swords. And we have got Death. Okay, well, we have 2 cards at least that talk about delays here, which kind of solidifies what we've been saying. So a person's inaction meant that something couldn't get off the ground here, or a connection couldn't be elevated in some way. And with this Ace of Swords in reverse, someone strongly feels like an opportunity has been missed. That ship has now sailed. The potential was somehow wasted here. Someone was too hesitant, they weren't assertive, they weren't clear about what they wanted, and they didn't take initiative. And maybe, you know, although both parties may have felt an attraction, one person interpreted this as, well, you know, they must not be feeling that passionate towards whatever this is, because if they did, then they would take action. Somebody felt as though the person they were dealing with wasn't motivated enough to make something happen or allow something to grow. This person either didn't communicate at all, or there was communication, but it wasn't consistent and it just stopped, and the other person got bored or very fed up of this. Someone here felt taken for granted with this 10 of Wands. Maybe they felt as though maintaining this connection was some kind of uphill struggle, particularly if they were doing the communicating and not getting much in return. And now someone is feeling restricted. This could refer to this person not having full access to you, but it's most likely because of their inability to take charge. They lost focus, they took their eyes off the prize, and now it kind of feels like, you know, too little too late. They lost their way here, or felt like there were too many challenges and obstacles in their way. And it could be that this person, or you, or both of you potentially, are overburdened by other things going on in your life. You have a lot of responsibilities and obligations to deal with that maybe made this connection more difficult than it needed to be. It could have been genuinely difficult for you or this person to arrange time to spend together if you work longer hours, or you have childcare or another, you know, time-consuming situation to deal with. But I honestly think this person could just become easily burdened by connections that involve emotions that are more than just a surface level. It could be like, due to their own issues, this person is generally more resistant to those kinds of feelings. It's almost like they're used to not catching deeper feelings, and they like it that way because they can focus on what they need to focus on, and it means nothing can get in the way of their goals. And when I say goals, it doesn't have to be that this person is super ambitious in terms of their career, or they want to be like CEO of a company. Of course that could apply, but I think it's more stubbornness of like, once they get an idea in their head about doing something, they're quite fixed in their mindset towards that, and they don't want anyone or anything to come and throw them off. on their end, they felt as though they met you at the wrong time. Just as examples, it could be like if they decided they wanted to go solo traveling, or they want to be single until they're at a certain age, and then you come along and it's like, I've met someone who makes me want to stay in this crappy city that I hate, or I've met someone who makes me want to sacrifice my singleness and commit. But it almost feels burdensome for them, because maybe they told themselves they never want a relationship to get in the way of their plans, and maybe they are really set on these particular things they want to do before they commit. So these strong feelings are weighing them down, because they're like, why did I have to meet this person now? It feels like there are too many things in the way. Because maybe, like, in those examples, if they are traveling, let's say, they've already booked their tickets or something like that. Like, there's no going back now. It's already very fixed in their mind. So maybe it's like they're being stubborn by not even looking at you or not even interacting much, because they know that they'll fall for you, and they can't risk doing that, because at the end of the month they're off to a different country, and they couldn't deal with it if they fell for you and then they had to be separated. I think they know that if things got deeper with you, it would make them want to abandon their plans, and they don't want to do that. So maybe they're just avoiding it entirely. For some of you, it could be to do with their family situation. Like, if they're in the process of separating from someone, they feel like they can't get closer to you because they have to focus on the whole legal process of that before they can get into anything with anyone else. For some of you, it's going to be something more deeper and serious like that, like they feel tied to another person or another obligation, and they have this one specific way that their life was meant to go in their mind, so they feel like talking to you and having these intense feelings would make things too real. And for others of you, it's just more of an attachment to their, quote, freedom, even though, these thoughts are plaguing them, so they're clearly not feeling very free right now. It's like, even if they're single, they're not enjoying being single, for example. So it could just be them making something into a big deal in their head, when in actuality, it's not that big of an obstacle, but to them, it's this big hurdle. This is actually making me think of a personal example. So it obviously won't be this example for you, but I'm just trying to illustrate what I mean here. So for this example, we're going to go all the way back to high school. This is about my high school experience. So basically, I had one of those friendship groups in high school that was very incestuous. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's like everyone dated everyone at some point. It was a mixed group, boys, girls. I mean, I'm bi, so that's irrelevant to me. I probably kissed everyone in that friendship circle at one point or another, is what I'm saying. Like, we all did. And at one point in time, there was one boy that I've been friends with who I think I kissed once or twice when we were drunk, and I decided that I actually really liked him romantically, and I knew that the attraction was mutual, so I actually pursued him. I asked him out. The thing about me is I'm like a Scorpio sun, so I'm very, very shy, but I can be not so shy sometimes because of my Sagittarius Venus. So when I saw that I wanted someone back in those days, I would just go like all guns blazing sometimes. Now, this boy at the time, he was a couple of school years older than me. We were actually probably only like a year apart in official age, because my birthday is in autumn and his is in summer. He was a Leo, by the way, fixed sign, so that could be significant here. But basically, like, at the time we were getting together because of the year he was in, he wasn't coming out with the friendship group as much because he was studying for his GCSEs. So normally each night after school, we would all meet up every night, and he was doing that less, basically. If you don't know what GCSEs are, they're like your big end of high school tests in the UK, and they can determine which college courses you get onto and things like that. It's been so long since I was at school, I no longer really know how they work, and now at my age I don't view GCSEs as important in the grand scheme of things, but when you're at that age and there's a lot of pressure on you, sometimes you believe your whole future depends on what grade you get, so it can be quite a stressful time for many teenagers. So despite knowing that the interest was mutual, when I asked him out, he hesitated because of the timing. He said he told himself he wouldn't think about dating or about having a girlfriend until he'd completed his GCSEs, because he wanted to do well and he didn't want any distractions. He was pretty open about this. And that's valid, but it's like the feelings were already there by this point. So it didn't really matter whether we said we were dating or weren't dating. The spark was already there, like the damage was already done in some kind of way. But obviously in my mind, the logical thing was like, well, if he was feeling this connection the way that I was, then he'd go for it. I didn't care about GCSEs because I was nowhere close to doing mine. I didn't see them as a big deal because I wasn't even thinking about them. I didn't see it as something that would stop me being with somebody. So that was my sort of impression. So I interpreted that as a rejection, or like he's just not that into me kind of moment. And I was like, well, that sucks, but if that's his decision, that's how it is. So I left it alone. And I do think 99% of the time, if someone isn't sure about you, that's all the confirmation you need. But I could tell in this individual situation with this particular person, this genuinely wasn't just an excuse he made up to let me down. He was genuinely battling that feeling of like head versus heart, because after I left it alone, he opened up to me about this, and I could tell he was truly struggling with these feelings because he had got his mindset on doing things one certain way, like the right way to do things. He told himself he couldn't have a relationship until he finished these tests. So it was like he was stuck in this mindset of thinking that things had to be that one particular way and that it was an immovable obstacle. I think he was of the belief that if he got into a relationship, he would need to dedicate way more time that he didn't have to like relationship things. Meanwhile, I was kind of like, we're literally 15 years old and we don't have jobs. So we're not going to be like going to fancy restaurants together. We're just going to be hanging out after school the same as we always do, but we're just going to be kissing a little bit more. So he'd made it into like this big thing in his head of like, if I have a girlfriend, then I can't spend 3 hours studying for my maths exam. I have to spend 3 hours reciting her poetry and studying romance, when that just wasn't a thing that was expected at all. I was like, it's not that deep. I knew he was focusing on his studies. I knew he wouldn't be out every night. I was fine with that. This was a big friendship group and I had other friends. He was not the center of my universe just because I had strong feelings for him, and I was not going to be the center of his either. He had other things to focus on. So once we talked about this, it became clear that we were on two different pages about what both of us expected from this. He was like, if we do this, it will mean this. But on my end, I wasn't thinking of it like that at all. Well, ultimately, his feelings were strong and he did want that relationship. And we went on to have a great relationship. He was a wonderful boyfriend, a very kind person, and I look back on that particular situation very fondly. But obviously, you know, in that situation, it got to that stage because we communicated about things. And I don't know in your situation, pal one, that this person is capable of communicating like that. I think that you are, but I'm not sure if this person is, because maybe they're still viewing this as some kind of power struggle. They know the feelings are burdening them, but they're reluctant to have a discussion or to be honest or take action. Ace of Swords reverse can also imply cancelled travel. For just one or two of you, this could be a long distance, or it's like this person was meant to come and visit you and vice versa, and that didn't happen, which led to this breakdown in communication or letting go. This person does think that you've let go of this with this death card, and it's weighing on them heavily. They're worried that the situation is over for good. Maybe it's that somebody here has to let go of something else in order for this thing to get off the ground. It doesn't have to involve another person or anything like that. It could involve this person's beliefs about themselves or about love. There's a feeling of something has to be released and come to an end before whatever this thing is can take off. This person could be transforming or changing behind the scenes though, or going through some kind of spiritual awakening due to an encounter with you maybe. I think what they want more than anything with this Queen of Swords is to be chatty with you. They want to have a genuine and honest conversation, but it always comes back to this question of who is going to like give in first. So potentially it's their ego holding them back here, and it's annoying more than anything because I think both of you have the capacity to be very good communicators, but I don't know if this person feels like they can do it in this energy right now. I think there's a strong intellectual connection here though. This person could think you are witty or funny or that you challenge them. Even if you've only had one conversation with this person, I think that conversation plays on their mind because the back and forth was great, the banter was great, but now there's nothing and they want that communication back. This person or you could be air sign dominant, although that does not have to apply. Someone here could be divorced or separated, or you've recently left another relationship behind, although again, that does not have to apply. I think this person thinks you are very open-minded and intelligent and articulate. I think they love to hear you talk. So if they're not getting that right now, I think they're sad about it, and that's probably why they're spying. They could really like listening to your voice. I think this person knows that you're discerning, and it's almost like if they spy on you too much, even if there's no proof, they might feel like you'll just know. And again, it feels like some of their power is stripped when they invest energy in checking up on you, so they try not to, but they find themselves just not being able to help themselves. I think they consider you as someone who is very independent and protective of your own energy, but also someone who can offer good advice or help them solve certain problems in their life. So they definitely miss speaking to you and connecting with you on that intellectual level, particularly if they do not currently have access to that. A lot of them just want to literally like shoot the shit with you. Maybe if you used to have casual banter or small talk with them and you've pulled back or you no longer engage with that, maybe they're just craving like literally just having a chat with you, even if it's not with the intention for it to lead to anything. They just want to be in communication with you. They want to be speaking to you. They want to be able to check up on you and see how your day's going if you and them aren't at that place right now. So let's go into more depth about why this person is spying, and we'll look at these next 4 cards. Okay, pile 1, we have got the 8 of Pentacles in reverse. We've got the 5 of Swords. We've got the 4 of Gems, which is the 4 of Pentacles. Gems are pentacles, by the way, I didn't say that. And we've got the Moon in reverse. They're spying on you because you had to set boundaries with them, pal 1. They're having to spy because there's no other way to access your energy. You're not being open with them. Now, the specifics of this are going to vary depending on what your relationship is to this person. If this is someone you had to block or unfriend, they have very limited access to you. If this is someone who didn't make a move and never tried with you in the first place, expecting that you'll chase them, maybe now they can't even look at you because your profile is private, but they don't want to reach out or add you because then they think that you'll know that they've been stalking your social media and thinking about you all this time, and they don't want you to know that. If this is someone who can still like access your profiles to some capacity, or even if like you still have to see them in person a little bit from time to time, it could be like you're a lot more stingy with your time and energy. You keep a lot to yourself. It's like the bare minimum in terms of communication. You're keeping them at arm's length and not going like back and forth with them. So they miss when you were chatty, when you guys had a little bit of a dialogue going on, a little thing going on, even if it was just like 1 or 2 conversations. So they're spying because they want to know what you're up to, because you're not giving any of that away. It could make them kind of angry though, and this could be why they try not to check up on you too much, because whether this was an official connection or whether this was just 2 people like crushing on each other and not admitting it, this person is holding on to you no matter how long it's been. Even if you met this person just once or twice and it's been months, they're still holding on to this to some degree. And this person, I think from the moment that they encountered you, somehow saw you as theirs. It's like this person mentally claimed you but didn't do anything about it, or didn't do enough about it at least. So now there's this frustration and this feeling from them like, pal 1 should be with me, I should be part of pal 1's life. So when they see that you are just going ahead and living life without them, seemingly unfazed, that irritates them, because for one, it might make them believe that their feeling is unrequited or that it's one-sided, and 2, it feels unjust because in their reality you should be with them. It's something they strongly believe should happen. I don't even think that this person is typically possessive, but it's almost like when you met, you like imprinted on them. I don't know why I'm getting imprinted, or they had this soft spot for you. Maybe Twilight is significant or something with imprinted. They had this weird soft spot even if they couldn't articulate what it was, and on some level they just felt like the 2 of you were meant to be together. They wanted to be your friend or your lover. They wanted to keep something going. So it could be like you met this person and they sort of mentally claimed you upon that initial meeting, and then they found out you were dating someone, even if it was just casually, and they'd already like, you know, got fixated on the idea of pal 1 is for me. So it felt like a betrayal even though you didn't know you were going to meet them. And even if you do still have feelings for this person, pal 1, if they didn't take action, it's fine for you to be dating. It's fine for you to be meeting other people if that's what you want. It's also fine for you to not do any of those things and spend time by yourself. This person's lack of action is not your responsibility. They prioritize maintaining control over the situation above actually having a genuine connection, it seems like. So maybe they try to keep you at arm's length and then they get annoyed when you match that energy. But they didn't put in the work with this 8 of Pentacles in reverse. They expected the results without putting in the work. It's interesting as well because we've got the 5 of Swords showing up here, and I know I mentioned earlier that for maybe just one person here, this person could have had some issues with the law, and 5 of Swords can refer to crime. But for the majority of people, this doesn't refer to like a physical crime, but I'm getting this phrase, the way they dealt with me was criminal, because I think you have high standards, and if you were once willing to give this person a chance but they ruined it through inaction or through treating the connection carelessly or not communicating, you're like, I gave you this opportunity and this is what you do with it. That is criminal. You could have had it all with me but you chose to self-sabotage. That's actually criminal. I keep hearing that. So for some of you, it felt like the door was open for them to some degree, like you weren't being some stuck-up, closed-off person who was shutting them down when they tried to talk to you. You were doing what you could to like facilitate this person taking the lead. You tried to make them feel confident, or maybe you gave them some indication that you are interested. Basically, like you tried to make it easy for them, and their lack of confidence still meant that they failed. They weren't qualified for the job. And now they're spying because they know that they showed up with mediocrity last time, and they're trying to release some of their fear with this moon in reverse. Some of them could have got spooked because they felt like they'd bitten off more than they could chew here. Like maybe they promised you a date and then they got all in their head about it because actually they can't afford to take you on a date or something like that. They can't provide for you the things they said they would, but their ego would never let them confront that with you. So instead, they pulled back or just didn't even try because they thought they didn't have enough to offer. For some of you, if this is like a person you don't know very well, it could be that they just think that you'd never give them a chance because they think that you view them as like having a bad reputation. So they're kind of like, why bother? So this could be like if you met through a mutual friend, for example, maybe the attraction was there between you and this person, and maybe this person wanted you to view them in a certain light, but maybe this mutual friend was exposing things or telling stories about them that painted them in not a great light. Or maybe they told you that this person is, for example, like still in the process of separating, or they told you something embarrassing about this person. And this person is like, that makes me sound really bad. Why would you tell pal one that about me? They're not going to like me now. So then it puts them in a place of like, what's the point in even trying? Some of them could just feel at a bit of a dead end in life generally. Maybe they're in a dead end job, or they are in between jobs right now, or even if they have a well-paying job, they just don't feel satisfied and they don't feel equipped to give you the stability that you need. So because they can't come right in and say all this because they lack the communication skills, or because they're not tapping into their communication skills, they're just staying in the shadows and spying. It could be with this Five of Swords that they felt your energy pulling it away, and maybe they felt like you've surrendered to this, or somebody has admitted defeat here, but they don't want that. Every time they see you, it's like they want to fight for this. They want to try to overcome some of these challenges. With this moon in reverse, I think encountering you in whatever capacity threw them off, and now it's like they're regaining composure here. I think there's many times they've thought about just biting the bullet and reaching out to you, and they've become anxious and talked themselves out of it, or they've not known how to go about being honest. Some of them could have been deceiving themselves or convincing themselves they're happier this way, like they're happier on their own. But that was just a lie. Their intuition was blocked, and now these truths are being unveiled. They're being forced to look at some of these feelings, and they know that a truth has to come to light here. Every time they think of you and they spy on you, they can feel it. They might wonder if you're thinking of them too when that happens. They really want things to be out in the open here, I think. I just don't think they know how to go about making that happen. Okay, let's take a look at how they are feeling towards you, pal one. Let's have a look at the next 4 cards. So we have got the Hermit in reverse. We have got the Magician in reverse. We have got the Tower. And we have got the 6 of Cups. Okay, it's half sweet and half kind of infuriating, but one thing I will say is that you have been a major catalyst in this person's life, pal one, and I think that's true even for those of you where this is more of an acquaintance. It's like from the point of view encountering one another, this person hasn't been the same to some extent. And for some of you, like, if you haven't been in touch a great deal since this meeting, it might not be that you have done or said anything directly for this to be the case. Obviously, if you have been with this person in more of a defined connection, then it could be something you've done or you've said that's triggered them into this awakening. But sometimes it's just the literal experience of meeting you that might awaken certain people. You don't have to necessarily do anything. You just existing has this effect on people, and has certainly had some big effect on this person. And I will say, for what it's worth, they are having some massive realizations right now about themselves, about you, about this connection. But as we know, tower moments are not fun. Things are changing, but it might be taking this person a while to reach enlightenment or to be open about this. Because for some of you, this person's childhood wounds were triggered by you. And again, I'm not saying it's anything you did, but this could refer to like their fear of rejection as one example. If they didn't even try with you because they were frightened of perceived rejection and now they're mad they missed an opportunity, this is about them realizing that their action or inaction led to this and taking accountability. So it's a trigger in that way, because some of them, it feels like they had a little bit of a victim complex when it came to you, and maybe they acted immaturely when dealing with you. They made it into a game or some kind of power play because these childhood wounds were torn open, and so they reverted back to behaving like a child. And I'm getting the word sulking almost, because they didn't get to control things because things didn't go their way. They threw a toddler tantrum or they were petty. And some of them might have been silently blaming you for this for a period of time, because with this Magician reversed, they felt like you tricked them into liking you or something like that. particularly if they don't normally have these intense feelings for people. They feel like you conned them or manipulated them into catching feelings. This could go back to what we said about the love potion, when, you know, in reality, you didn't do any of that, but it's more about how they view relationships. They see it like when you fall for someone, it's a loss of power. So they're kind of resentful that you made them feel this way, even if you haven't done anything. This could be something they learned in childhood when observing the relationships that were modeled around them. It's like they were blaming you for having such powerful feelings, especially if at one stage you were open to this, you were chatting to them, you were friendly, you were seeing where things went, and then they played games and you had to pull back. That kind of reaffirmed their belief that it's just a trick, or Pal 1 doesn't really like me, they were just manipulating me into liking them so that they could toy with me, when really the reason you pulled back probably wasn't to play games, it was more of a response to this person's games. It's more likely that they're projecting here because they're the ones who played games. They're the ones who started this game up, so you had to pull back your energy or stop communicating. And at one stage, I think they fully viewed themselves as the victim in this, because in their mind, their games could be excused as like, well, I was just protecting myself, because they're like, you know, I've been rejected before and I don't want it to happen again. I'm insecure, so it's okay for me to test people or to play these games. But it's like, buddy, we're all insecure. We've all been rejected in the past. It's not an excuse to mess with people. Even if they didn't mess with you and it's more like their inaction that's got them feeling this way, in their mind, they were putting all the onus on you to reach out on the basis of them being insecure. And when you didn't chase, they felt a type of way, like, well, Pal 1 just isn't that into me. There I go, being rejected again. But they haven't even tried. It's like they weren't realizing it's this two-way street. And you weren't the one who hurt them or rejected them or gave them these insecurities. So why should you be on the receiving end of game playing behavior? But at one point in their mind, they were like, well, Pal 1 is just like everyone else because now they've rejected me or now they've abandoned me or whatever it is. But now they're going through this upheaval because I think they're realizing that they had a part to play in what did or didn't happen. Their self-sabotaging behaviours got them to this place, so there's been an unexpected shift in their viewpoint when it comes to you and this connection. Maybe they've spoken to somebody else about this situation and they've been in this victim mode, and maybe that other person has given them a little bit of a reality check and they've said like, well, Pal 1 never actually rejected you, and if I were Pal 1, I might think that you're not interested. Even a conversation like that could have allowed them to consider this in a completely different way. It shocked them, and now they're feeling a little chaotic because they think it's too late or they think they've lost this forever. With this Hermit in reverse, I think how strongly they felt for you left them in a state of paralysis. They didn't really know what to do with it. They'd never experienced anything like it. So maybe they just didn't decide anything and they left it alone, and now they've been feeling really isolated. I think they're lonely even if they are surrounded by other people. There's nobody really they feel like they can connect with, nobody they feel they can talk to. They could be in a very reclusive or antisocial energy actually, and if you do see or hear that they're out or that they're socializing all the time, I think this is a front more than anything. They could be in the room with other people, all smiles, but they're not really there, if that makes sense. They're not really feeling connected to other people. So if they do go out a lot, I think it's more than anything just to take their mind off other things. But for some of them, they just aren't wanting to go out as much. They're spending a lot of time alone. And it's weird because some of them could have sabotaged this connection on the basis they want to focus on like being free or being single or going out socializing with lots of different people. And it's like now they can, they don't even want to do it. And if they are doing it, it's just to fill some kind of void. Some of them just feel as though they cannot get to you, they cannot access you, they are too restricted, they don't know enough about what you're up to do anything about this. And they could also be paranoid about what you're doing or who you're interacting with. Like they're still battling those feelings of potential rejection. So they don't want to risk reaching out to you after some time and then realizing that you're now in a happy relationship and you haven't even been thinking of them or something like that. But I think the reason they're feeling withdrawn from their external world and people around them is that you feel like home. And I know for those of you where this is a newer person, that might sound really, really weird. But there's certain people you meet in life and there's just this strange, unexplainable feeling of them being familiar somehow. It's that sense of like safety, like you've known them before, even if you haven't. And it doesn't necessarily have to do with how physically attractive you find them. A lot of times there is this intense attraction, but sometimes this is just platonic. You feel like you've always known each other. It's hard to explain, but if you've had that experience throughout your life, it's something that you don't come across every day, and there could be some element that these are two souls who are meant to be in each other's life for some reason, but somebody here has rejected it because they're they're scared, they've never experienced anything like this. And that could make sense, like particularly if this person isn't as spiritual as you are. This could have deeply unsettled them actually. It could be that when you met this person, they also experienced this feeling of having known you before, but they tried to rationalize it because that is their go-to. So maybe they were like, oh, are you sure you don't go to my gym? Or are you sure you didn't used to work at this place? They could tell you that you remind them of someone, or they're kind of like, are you sure we haven't met before? It's that kind of thing. And I know we talked about childhood wounds, but it's like, I think they see you as someone who brings out their inner child. Like the two of you can be innocent and playful together. There's this sense of things could be simple if only it wasn't for our childhood wounds or these walls we've put up. Some of you could have known this person since childhood, but if that's not the case, this could refer to past lives or you and this person experiencing many past lives together. You bring out the young side of them, no matter what their age is, and if they have memories with you, they think about these a lot. And if they don't have many memories with you in the physical, they reflect a lot on the ones they do have. And when they look at you, there's just this complete sense of fondness and nostalgia and yearning. It's lots of different conflicting emotions at the same time, and it's kind of hard to explain. But I think this person is going through these changes in the way they think about this. So let's have a look at their next actions, Power One. Okay, so we have got the High Priestess. We've got the Ten of Pentacles reversed. We've got the Novice of Raindrops, which is the Page of Cups. And we've got the Devil. I think this person is very concerned about being too full on, because with this Devil, this person feels like they're obsessed over you. And with the High Priestess, they feel like you somehow know this. They feel like maybe you can feel them pulling on your energy and you can see right through them. And that makes them feel more powerless and unsure of what they can offer you going forward. It's like this person might actively try not to spy on you, like we said, because they feel like checking in on you is this addiction. And they almost feel like you just know when they've been checking in. And I think this embarrasses them because they'd never want to admit that they have feelings for you or still have feelings for you if it's been a while. So their initial next actions could be continuing to look at you in secret for a little while. I think they do this a lot when they're alone. If they have any pictures of you, they might look at those a lot in private. But I think afterwards they feel kind of embarrassed about that, or like you'll somehow know that that's what they've been doing. They feel like they're kind of feeding your energy or feeding this addiction by doing that. I don't think they have much faith in this working out. They're not hopeful that you'll want anything to do with them because you're such a mystery to them. It feels like you're so unattainable right now. They're definitely desiring you, and I think they're getting desperate to know what you're up to. The High Priestess can refer to a thirst for knowledge, so it could be that reconnecting with you in some way is the only way they can access that knowledge and kind of quench that thirst. Maybe they're very thirsty for you right now, Power One, but right now they are not feeling too hopeful about that because maybe you have blocked them on everything, or they're still not confident enough to even reach out. You know, on the original Devil card, it's interesting because you've got the image of the lovers, but it's like the devil is hanging over them. So it could be that the obstacle is simply this person's demons and their lack of confidence. It's that sense of like, you know, we would be perfect, like these lovers, if it wasn't for this demon stepping on my neck right now. It could be their own beliefs or something tangible in their life. Whatever it is, you know, maybe it's their financial situation with this Ten of Pentacles in reverse. We did mention some of them maybe being between jobs right now, so that could apply. They feel like they don't have much to offer you in that way. It could also be like a family situation, their family breaking up, a separation, legal issues, problems with a will or an inheritance, their company or workplace going bankrupt, them being in debt even. Maybe if some of them were ever into gambling or they did something illegal to do with money, something like that. Obviously, that's not going to apply for many people, but it could be like these burdens are affecting how much energy they'd be able to invest in a connection. They could be going through this period of feeling like they've lost everything, so they're actually feeling depressed or they're battling with mental health issues and feeling like they don't have the motivation to reach out. It's obviously going to depend on their individual specific circumstances. This Page of Cups does give me hope that this person could reach out with some kind of romantic offer, but I don't think you're going to feel like it's a solid offer. It feels a little bit like shaky ground, so I don't think this is going to be some kind of grand gesture. I do think this person is going to be experiencing these very fond feelings towards you again. They're definitely going to be crushing on you and admiring you from afar, but it is also possible that they do reach out with some small act of kindness or an emotional gesture, which although might not be a huge leap in your eyes, on their end it does feel like taking a chance and taking a leap. It is a big deal to them because they don't know how you're going to to respond, and it might feel like they're being naive, thinking that this can go somewhere, but this is something they have been dreaming about. And I think as well, the two of you could be telepathically connected in some way with this High Priestess and with the Page of Cups. That can also talk about psychic gifts. So there could be this feeling, or they just sense that they have to say something because they know you're almost expecting it in a way, but they also know they need to show up as being more emotionally mature. And I think that's something they're working on whilst experiencing this tower moment that we spoke about. It could be that this person is slightly younger than you. That does not have to be the case. Age doesn't really matter, to be quite honest, but I think it's this feeling of like, you make this person feel as though they have to step up, or you kind of make this person act like this shy little boy or shy little girl in a way, like they're dealing with a high school crush or something like that. But I don't think they want to bicker at all with you. I think they want to come in with some kind of happy news here. For some of them, if they are struggling, they could underplay this or act like they're doing fine, but from certain things they might say, I think it'll lead you to wonder about the validity of that. But I think generally they don't want to get you down or stress you out, so they're trying to come at you very happy or very playful, because, you know, this does say play as well, but I think it's going to be this more innocent kind of thing, not too deep. I think they've been tempted to reach out for a while, and I think ultimately this thirst for knowledge is going to sort of force them into giving into temptation here with this devil. Even if they feel like that's a level of vulnerability they are uncomfortable with, it feels like their emotional side is going to get the better of them because they need to know something. And also, it's like they could be listening to their inner voice and saying to themselves, yeah, I could get rejected, but if I don't ask, I don't get. They've been trying to go through the motions of this logically, but to some extent their logic has become more like anxiety, and it's just sort of trapping them. So maybe there's chance for communication when this person leans more into their intuition, which I think that kind of is what they're doing here. And it could be like they come in sort of testing the waters, trying to find out if you're seeing anyone right now. It could feel very like, oh, how's it going? What have you been up to? Very pally, very friendly. But I think that both of you will know that there's more bubbling up under the surface here. So that is what I am getting for the tarot portion of your reading. We are just going to close the reading with a little bit of closing guidance from the Moonology Oracle. So let's have a look at what we pulled for you, pal one. Okay, let's have a look. So we've got a personal issue reaches resolution, full moon in Cancer. Oh, okay. So moon in Cancer or moon in a water sign could be significant, although that does not have to be the case. But I think this could be referring to this person's personal issue. Something that was getting in the way is reaching a resolution. And of course, this could be many things. This could be the fear of rejection this person is battling, or their deeply rooted negative beliefs about relationships, or it could be something more tangible they're overcoming, like if they are separating from someone, it could be that that situation is officially closing. The documentation going through, it could be them acquiring a job if finances have been an issue for them. It can be anything, but I feel like what's going to spur them on to say or do something is putting whatever this thing is behind them. And it might be something that they've had to do alone. They've had to go away and work on themselves and maybe stop throwing themselves pity parties or playing the victim if that was ever a thing. Maybe they've had to come to certain realizations and conclusions on their own and in their own time. But now that they have, or now that they're working on that, it's going to open the door to so many new possibilities. Some of them could have been working on their issues by going to therapy, and for others, maybe they've listened to a friend's advice and actually been able to see things from another person's perspective. Maybe they've reflected on how they've been dealing with this and come to the conclusion that you were in the right, or, you know, now they can see things through your point of view, or they've been able to put themselves in another person's shoes. Or even if this is a newer person and there hasn't been like a falling out and it's just a case of there's no communication because the communication never even started, I think this is them having more empathy and being like, maybe I was unfair when I expected Power 1 to just come to me or do all the chasing. They've realised that they have to make themselves emotionally available and they have to put in the effort too. And this could be someone who is actually a lot more sensitive and introspective than what they present on the surface. If this is a water moon person, that would make a lot of sense because there is this tendency to be protective and bottle things up. But equally, the moon feels right at home in Cancer, so this can be a massive strength, and this could be something you actually really like about this person when it's being utilised in a healthy way. But if this person has experienced some kind of rejection or loss in their past, it could have made them kind of retreat into this shell and not be open, and it could have made them, you know, sort of feel quite alienated from their emotions or just avoid them or shut them off. But maybe there's something about you that makes them want to open up because you feel like home, and that's kind of scary for them. They get easily overwhelmed by that thought. And I say this with all love, as I am a water dominant person. I'm a Scorpio sun and a Cancer Mars. I know about broodiness, I feel things intensely, but sometimes water placements, when they are not evolved, have this tendency towards victim complexes or being manipulative with their emotions. We can kind of be like, woe is me, I feel things so much deeper than everybody else, and nobody in the world could possibly understand me. Everyone needs to pander to my sensitivities. But there comes a time when many of us have to grow up and realize that all of us have complex emotions. It's not mutually exclusive to us. And if we have fears or insecurities, we need to work on those ourselves and not blame other people for not giving us special treatment. Like, yes, we feel things deeply, but that should be used as a strength to empathize, to connect profoundly with others, not as an excuse to play the perpetual victim in the story of our lives. And I feel like, regardless of whether this person is water dominant or not, this is something this person is coming to terms with, and they're hopefully using this to take positive action. You might have had the sense of something building momentum here because things could have been bottled up for a while, but with this being the full moon, it feels like the culmination of something. It feels like you're going to be able to see more clearly because everything that has been repressed is being pushed out into the open. Now, I think this could mean one of two things depending on who is listening and the history of this connection, and neither of these things are wrong, because if this individual's personal issue has been resolved, that's great for them, but at the same time, if their personal issues impacted you to the point you feel like you want to disengage from this connection permanently and you do not want to give them a chance, that's valid. Always do what's best for you. If that's the case, you can use this for confirmation that although this person and you might not end up together forever, you have been a catalyst for their growth and development, and you have both learned things through this. However, if this is a case of you and this individual waiting for a particular thing to happen or for an obstacle to be removed before you can be together, but you're of this mindset of like, you know, once this thing is out of the way, once this particular blockage dissipates, we can work at this, you can use this as confirmation that that thing might no longer be a problem for you going forward. A resolution is reached. You're getting closure here. So that is what I'm getting for your reading, Pile 1. I really, really hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did like the reading, please do me an absolutely massive favour and please like the video, comment, let me know what resonated, or just tell me which pile you picked if you don't feel comfortable doing that. And if at all possible, please subscribe. That is the easiest and best way to support me and this channel, and I would just really appreciate it so very much. Thank you for being here, thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, Pile 1. Hi, Pile 2 Collective. If you chose the Rainbow Tarot and you chose the twin sticker, you are in the correct place. So welcome to your reading, friends. This reading is all about who is spying on you and why. They're peeping, they're creeping, but what do they want with you? We are going to be diving deep into who this is, their energy towards you and the connection, why they're spying, how they are feeling about you, and their next actions. If you would like a full breakdown regarding what this reading will entail, then please check out my introduction. I go through absolutely everything there. But as usual, we are going to start with the oracle reading / energy check right now. So I'm just going to actually pop your tarot cards to one side if I can for now. And that is so that we can focus on your oracle cards. So let's have a look at what we pulled for you, Pile 2. Okay, so we have got Do Not Take It Personally. We have got number 67, Overload. Accessment. Is that a word? I've never heard of that before. I've heard of excessive, but it's I'm 100%, I'm not blind, am I? That says accessment. Accessment, obligation, overwhelm. Number 3, Desire, Lettuce. And Lineal Truth. So I always like to start off by mentioning the numbers on the cards in case any of these are significant to you in terms of ages, dates, angel numbers, synchronicities that you are seeing a lot of. These don't have to apply, but it's just a little bit of extra confirmation if they do. So here we have number 3 and number 67. Feel free to go ahead and look those up if you feel like they might be relevant. So I am getting a couple of different messages, but to start off, I want to read about this Lineal Truth card, and I'm going to read from the guidebook to sort of lay the groundwork for what I'm going to say. Okay, so we've got Lineal Truth. There is an old wound, an old curse that belongs not only to you, but also your ancestors. Before your soul entered its current vessel, this wound occurred within one soul, and it has been allowed to reverberate continuously down your ancestral line. You are able to feel that pain and see what it has done to others in your family. You can see how others have attempted to cover it up, to conceal it from the outside world. While it is not up to you to solve what happened, you can take the responsibility to make peace with the wound. When a wound has its bandages removed and it is acknowledged and illuminated, it is finally offered the opportunity to heal. You are in a position to mend a hurt which has affected many souls, and you can prevent it from causing further pain to those who are yet to come in your ancestral line. You will need to spend time with the pain and spend time with those it has affected. Ask your guides and angels for assistance. Ask them to infuse the space of pain with their healing white light. Be the one who mends the lineal wound, who breaks the generational curse. So there are big themes in this particular pile of generational trauma and wounding showing up. We also had childhood wounds coming through in pile 1, actually, now that I mentioned that. Now, this could very well be a romantic connection or some kind of strong attraction, particularly with this desire card showing up, and that will probably be the case for many of you. But for others of you with lineal truth showing up, it could be that the person spying on you is a literal family member. I mean, I guess it could be family as in like family you have married into, even if this is a romantic partner and it's someone that you were married to, but it could be an actual biological family member. Maybe a sibling, or even just for one person, it could be a twin with you choosing that sticker. Or if this is a romantic partner, you could identify with having a twin flame and you could feel like this is that person. Something about twins or mirroring being significant here. And the desire could refer to their desire to communicate with you, or their strong desire to talk to you or have you back in their life, something along those lines. So I'm going to explore both of those options. Obviously, if we are talking about your sister or a parent, discount the romantic portions. And obviously, if this is more of a romantic person we're talking about, discount the paternal or sibling examples. I'm going to try to give, examples for both. But the overarching energy here, regardless of who this is, it's the same in that this is a person who feels or once felt like family. It could be someone you share a lot of similarities with, or this was someone who at one point felt like part of your soul family. I'm getting soulmates, soul sisters. It could be a friend who felt like a sister or brother at one point. There could be shared history, or you have shared childhood experiences, or even like vastly opposite childhood experiences under the same roof that created some kind of hostility or resentment here, but maybe that hasn't always been spoken about. I think this is a person who is very wounded, or you both have wounds, or you feel like they wounded you and that's why you are not in contact. I do think this is a no contact or minimal contact situation. I'm just going to say that right off the bat. Or there has definitely been some kind of argument, some kind of falling out or disconnection here with the do not take it personally card. But as I'm looking at this lineal truth card, I'm getting something about somebody not having the whole picture here. It's like there's more deeply rooted history, there are things under the surface, there's more lore to this. I'm getting the phrase lore. We can't just look at the branches, we need to dig to the roots to unearth everything. And now I'm getting something about going down the rabbit hole, so maybe Alice in Wonderland could be significant to somebody here. But I'm getting this message of either something being left unsaid, or that there's things that you can't know yet and it's created a bit of a shitstorm with this person. So one thing this could refer to is like family secrets. I'm not saying you have some huge incriminating family secrets or anything like that, but I'm getting something about the branches here being a reflection of this person's behavior, and obviously that's what you can see on the surface. Those branches are visible, but there are all these hidden roots, and that might explain why they are acting the way they are acting, and you might not know everything about that yet, is what I'm guessing. This specific example won't apply, but let's just say this is your sibling who you are not currently in communication with, and maybe they were acting up so you had to distance yourself, or they created arguments or created distance with you even. Maybe they tried to put you down, or they just acted unkindly towards you, and from your perspective, it was easy to take that personally or think, what have I done to cause this? Because you're like, I thought this person was down for me and now they're all closed off, they're not speaking to me, or they're acting up. What's going on here? But there's just a lot more bubbling under the surface than what you are currently aware of. It could be when things started going well for you, this family member or friend became distant, like if you got in a relationship, let's say, or you got a promotion even. It could be this person suddenly started acting coldly towards you, and maybe at first you thought you were the problem or you'd done something to upset this person, but really it's like you're kind of looking at that behavior and internalizing it as a you problem, like something you have to fix. But there's all these things you couldn't know, or this person hasn't been able to express to you, and that is influencing their decision here. And it's actually less to do with you or what you've done or haven't done than what you think. Like what you see is my soulmate, my soul sister, my bestie, my person, whatever they are to you, they're distancing. Why are they pulling away? but maybe it's to do with this personal wounding on their end. So in that sibling example, maybe this person is deeply insecure because they've always been secretly in competition with you. They're insecure because they consider you the prettier or more successful sibling. So when they see good things happening for you, their jealousy consumes them. They've been overloaded with this resentment and they've had to pull back, but maybe in the process they've made you feel like you're the problem. And it's easy to look at that and be like, well, you know, they can't just treat me that way just because they're jealous. That's unfair. They can't just dip in and out of my life because they feel a certain kind of way. And I think that's true. You are not obligated to put up with that kind of behavior from anyone, family or not. So this is not me giving you reasons to let them back in if you know they're toxic and genuinely not good for you. However, even if you're certain that they're not re-entering your life, I still think it's important to give you that clarity of like, there are reasons for this behavior that aren't to do with you, essentially. It's not an excuse for what they're doing, but it might give you a little bit more context just in terms of understanding why this has happened. Because maybe in that example of this being a sibling, you're thinking like, well, this person shouldn't be jealous of me. They're pretty too. They're successful too. They have this thing going on. But there could be external influences that have played a part in this. So for instance, if a paternal figure has always compared the two of you and praised one of you as like the golden child and the other as unsuccessful, the latter person is going to internalize some of that, and it might cause them to act out, not to the person who is actually hurting them, but it might cause them to turn against the golden child or avoid them because they feel at a deep level like they'll never be able to match up to that. It doesn't even have to be that deep. It could be like this was a best friend and their romantic partner made a comment in passing comparing them to you, or they remarked that you were attractive, or that they once had a crush on you or something like that. And now the best friend feels a lot of pent up resentment and jealousy towards that, so they've been trying to put you down or chip at your confidence because it makes them feel better or more in control to do so. But I think what they're realizing is that creating arguments or distancing themselves was never the solution. So I think they're regretting whatever it is they did or didn't do. It could even be an actual parental figure who wants to be in your life, but maybe you had to cut them off because they were controlling or overprotective or too critical, they were difficult to deal with. And again, you don't have to put up with that, but there's some element of this where that person's behavior was influenced by their own trauma in some way. It was almost a coping mechanism that they did without thinking, and so maybe now they are reflecting more on why that was wrong. If this is a parent who was overprotective or controlling, for example, it could be like this was almost a trauma response for this person because they didn't feel protected or in control throughout their childhood. And that's this deeply rooted part that maybe they haven't expressed to you. Maybe they don't even admit there is a problem, or they don't even acknowledge to themselves that that's why they're acting this way. But all you see them doing is being overbearing and the negative impact that has had on you. And that's not to say, like, if you did know about these hidden layers, you should behave any differently, because ultimately someone else's trauma shouldn't be taken out on you. That's something they have to deal with. But again, it does just provide that extra layer of nuance and context to the why of the situation, and it lets you know that it's not necessarily to do with you. They're just dealing with a lot of their own stuff. If this is a romantic partner, it's the same thing. If they pulled back, you might be thinking, what's wrong with me to make them pull back? What did I do? Have they gone off me? Are they not interested? But again, with like, do not take it personally, it's actually very, very little to do with you at all. In fact, if this is romantic, the desire and attraction is actually incredibly strong. We see that coming through here. There is this massive desire to communicate with you and to connect with you again, but they're dealing with their own stuff. This could be a person who is sometimes brutally honest or a little bit blunt, or they speak without thinking, because with do not take it personally, it's making me think of someone saying to you like, oh, don't take them personally, pal too, that's just their nature, that's just what they're like. For some of you, with the imagery on this overload card, it's making me think of a work situation. So it could be that this is a colleague and it's someone you were getting along with, whether friendly or romantic. It's like the two of you could have been having a laugh together one day or flirting, like things are going really well. And then the next day they're suddenly quite mean or blunt or rude towards you. And you're looking around at another colleague like, what did I do? What's their problem? And this other colleague is like, oh, just ignore them. They're just stressed, or that's just what they're like. Don't take it personally. And you're like, but I thought we were having a good time. Like, what is this? But really, it's more to do with something going on in this person's life. They could feel like they have a lot going on right now. They could be overburdened with responsibilities. They feel like they have a lot of obligations. They could also be taking things to excess in terms of some of their habits, drinking, smoking, spending money, ordering food all the time, even like more productive habits like overworking themselves or throwing all their energy into one particular thing at the expense of everything else. Maybe in instances where this is a friend or family member that you were close to, it could be that that they got into a relationship and cut everyone off, or they treated you like you were disposable and now they want to come back, now they've been thinking about you. You could have felt like this person was overwhelming to deal with and you had to create distance, like they always had issues or problems or drama and it just became a lot to deal with. Or if it's not that, it could be this person made you feel like you were the problem or you were demanding too much, but actually this was more projection on their end. Because I'm getting like, maybe this was a person you always helped, you supported them, you listened to them, you offered advice, you were there for them throughout hard times, but when it came to reciprocating, whether this was romantic or platonic, it's like when you were going through a hard time, they didn't want to deal with it or they suddenly didn't have any time for you. This could be the kind of person who has been crying to you every day on the phone for months about the same issue, but the minute you're having a bad mental health day and you're like, I just really need someone to talk to right now, suddenly you're too much or you're expecting too much of them. And suddenly they're talking about protecting their energy and having boundaries and taking a step back from you because they only really wanted to be there for the good times. And listen, in friendships and relationships, you're not going to be able to be there for someone 100% of the time. I get that if you have work or children, you can't always just drop everything to go and support someone at that very moment. And you can't rely on one singular person 24/7 for emotional support. First and foremost, you have to look after yourself mentally. It's like that thing of put on your own oxygen mask before putting on someone else's. I'm all for having healthy boundaries, particularly when it feels like there is someone taking advantage of our time and energy, but there has to be give and take. And in this situation, it feels like you were there for this individual, but they couldn't even give the bare minimum back to you without complaining about it. And at first, maybe you did have doubts of like, am I asking too much here? Because maybe you don't tend to rely on other people all that often, but you never were. You were at most asking for your basic emotional needs to be met. And because this person was behaving immaturely through that lens of a wounded child, they made you feel like you were the problem because dealing with your issues wasn't fun for them. For some of you, it might feel like this person has a little bit of main character syndrome and it felt like they've been treating you as a supporting character to some extent, like you're just there to provide input on their situation, but the real plot isn't focused on you. Because now I'm getting that audio in my head of Nigel Farage screaming, boring. So this could be the kind of person who, like, if they were your friend, they could have rattled on and on about what's going on for them, and they expect you to be attentive and interested and asking them questions. But when you talk about what's going on for you, they zone out and you can tell that they're just not listening. Or they almost say something snarky if you're telling a story. They kind of like get to the point because they can't wait for you to just stop talking so they can bring it back to them. It could be that conversations with them are just very one-sided, even via text. Like if they sent you a paragraph talking about their problems, you'd always make sure to reply, you'd give them heartfelt advice, you'd call them, talk through things. But if one day you send them a paragraph wanting help or advice, they would read it, but then they'd leave you unread because it's too long. They can't be bothered reading it. It's too much to deal with when the situation isn't about them. And then when they pop back up, they've completely ignored what you said and it's about something completely irrelevant. I have an example of this. So I've had many intense friendships throughout my life and I used to have a very intense borderline codependent friendship with one particular person, and both of us contributed to that in different ways. So this wasn't just this individual's fault. I tolerated a lot of things that I shouldn't have during that time, but there was this one period of time where I was just having a really difficult experience with my mental health. She had also had mental health struggles before, so she understood that. We talked every day. I'm sure I wasn't perfect, but I always created space for her to talk through things and I tried my best to support her when she was down. But at this particular time in both of our lives, the time that I was struggling, she was doing okay and she just started a course and made some new friends who naturally she was spending a lot of time with, and so me and her were hanging out a little bit less, which was fine. I knew we would hang out less when she went on the course because she would be focusing on that. Completely understandable. I wasn't bothered about that. I'm not trying to be in anyone's pocket. I had other friends and I also very much like my own company, so this didn't bother me at all. My only thing is like, if I have a friendship with someone, when we do meet up or we do talk, I want reciprocal friendship. I want someone who matches my energy. And in this particular scenario, I remember it so vividly because it was just so jarring. And it's funny now that I look back on it, but it wasn't at the time because I was in quite a bad place. But like, I remember we were talking less over text, but it's like when we did text, we would briefly catch each other up on our lives. And I remember like she was talking about some drama going on in her new friendship group and wanting advice on that. So I tried to give thoughtful advice. I replied to everything she said. and we hadn't actually discussed what was going on for me at all. So towards the end of that conversation, she was like, but anyway, how are you? And this was one of the few people who I could open up to about my struggles. So I didn't write paragraphs and paragraphs, but I did say, you know, honestly, like, I'm not doing great. You know, been feeling kind of hopeless about everything. Would be great to talk properly and have a catch up when we get chance. Just kept it kind of vague, but let her know that I wasn't great. Anyway, she just stopped replying because clearly my depression was boring. So she didn't actually want to know how I was. She just wanted to talk at me about her situation and bounce. Which, you know, I'm not saying people need to be accessible all the time or reply straight away. If she happened to suddenly get busy and didn't get a chance to reply then and there, I can accept that. Sometimes we don't respond straight away, and it's because we don't have the mental capacity to respond in that exact moment. But then about a week later, after her asking me how I was and me saying, you know, not great, could do with a bit of human kindness right now, some words of affirmation maybe, I saw her name pop up. And so I'm expecting like a, oh, sorry, I've been busy, but I hope you're doing okay, something like that. But instead, the entirety of the message was, I've managed to get me and Susan, let's just say Susan, she was like, I've managed to get me and Susan Beyonce tickets with 3 exclamation marks, nothing else, just that. She didn't ask me to go to bloody Beyonce. And this is when Beyonce was really big, so it could have actually cured my depression. I mean, obviously Beyonce is still absolutely huge, but I mean, this was like at the peak of her being in the charts constantly, tickets sell out instantly kind of thing. They probably still do, but yeah, you know what I mean. It was just kind of like, what? And listen, I get it. I've had moments where I've opened a text and I've replied in my head and not actually replied in real life. And then I've gone onto the message thread and said something else and thought, oh crap, I didn't even reply to the first thing. But this wasn't a one-off. It was a consistent feeling. And whilst that's only one example, and it might be a petty example, that text thread was a physical reminder of how one-sided the friendship had become. And I knew that if it was the other way round, she wouldn't have tolerated it. That is the main thing. There was a lot of hypocrisy and projection, because ultimately, when the new friendship group she had fell apart, she wanted back in my energy and I was less willing to give my energy, and suddenly I was the problem. I wasn't there for her. And a lot of that was actually unintentional on my part, because at that stage in my life, I'd gone on to join a course and I was focused on that, but she wasn't very understanding of it. She didn't give me any of the grace that I'd given her. And I think this could be the thing in your scenario, pal, too. I'm sorry if that was a bit of a ramble, but that is what it's making me think of. It's like this person hasn't been as understanding towards you as you have with them. They could have taken advantage of your good nature, or they tried to. They could have treated you like you were the issue when you weren't. They could be hypocritical or project things onto you. They could have made you listen to their problems, but they're never willing to listen to yours. If this is romantic, this could be like you putting your emotional labor into a person and them not being willing to do the same for you. Like, they could have complained to you for weeks in detail about a work situation and you've always been by their side during those hard times, comforting them, offering advice. But then when you have a bad day at your job and you complain about it just once, this is a person who's like, you're always so negative, you're always complaining, it's not that big of a deal, and it just hasn't felt very fair. I think this person is very much desiring to speak with you. I think they want to get back on track with you. They want to re-enter your life or get the opportunity to talk to you. If you guys share mutuals, they could be asking about you or trying to find out what you're up to, or swinging by places they know you'll be just because they want to bump into you in some instances. But that is what I'm getting for the oracle portion of your reading. We are about to move along to the tarot, so please bear with me and we will elaborate on this situation when we get to the tarot. Hi Party Collective, welcome back to the tarot portion of your reading. Without hesitation, let's get started and have a look at the first 4 cards we pulled for you. So I'll just pop this sticker to one side for now and let's have a look at what we get. Okay, we've got the 7 of Cups. We've got the Lovers. We've got the World in reverse. And we've got the 4 of Cups. Interesting that we've got this Lovers energy showing up with the twin sticker as well. That could just be a little bit of extra confirmation that this is like soulmate or soul family, twin flame, that kind of thing, whichever resonates with you. But first of all, what is it with these people that I'm channeling today and them just missing opportunities? With this 4 of Cups, you could have tried to offer them your cup of love and they just straight up knocked it over. It feels like you offered them something. If it's not romantic, it could be friendship or an olive branch, some way of connecting, but they refused it here. Either they stagnated or they were indecisive. There were multiple options and they didn't know which route to go down. They thought they could like pick and choose. show up for you when they want, but then drop you just as easily. It's that kind of energy. Maybe they were being stubborn due to their own pride and ego, but they're deeply regretting this. They're not happy with their current situation. They're feeling apathetic about it. They're disillusioned with the world around them. Nothing is as good as what they had with you. They figured out life was just better with pal 2. They could be fantasizing about what it would be like to be back in your life. I'm getting Good Graces by Sabrina Carpenter. And they are daydreaming about ways that they could try to make this happen. Maybe that refers back to what we said about them like just bumping into you coincidentally, just showing up at the place you happen to go for coffee, or on your particular gym days, or showing up at the office when they usually work from home, or hanging out in your neighbourhood, just thinking things will be oakley dokley again because they want to get back in your life. They're bored with whatever is happening in their current environment. Whatever options they thought they had, they didn't, or they've realised the options are not what they're cracked up to be. Maybe they're realising they had much more fun around you, or their life was better around you, so they're yearning for your company. They feel as though there's unfinished business here with this world in reverse. This isn't done yet. The cycle isn't complete. I can't tell whether they understand that they disappointed you, like whether there's some kind of moment of self-awareness, or whether they just feel disappointed with the place they're at. And they're like, you know who will make this situation better? Pal 2. Because maybe they have been able to rely on that in the past, but maybe the actual reality of being back in your life in a significant way is wishful thinking or some kind of delusion on their part. Because even if you do have feelings for them, or even if you do see reconciliation as a possibility if this person worked for it, I do think because this person is quite self-absorbed, they might not necessarily be acknowledging the damage they've done or the negative impact they've had. And obviously this is going to encompass lots of different situations. I always say that. So for some of you, this is more of a straight up toxic person whose behaviour has really hurt you or knocked your confidence. And for others of you, it might be less serious, like they've made an offhand remark that they've since regretted, or they've said something without really thinking that was a little hurtful, but it wasn't necessarily malicious. But in either case, it's like this person needs to take accountability for the part they played in the breakdown of this connection, or in communication generally, because it feels like some of them think that they can just come back in and kind of gloss over it. The lineal truths need to be revealed. And I think if you are open to giving this person a chance, and some of you aren't, which is fine, but if you are, I don't think you're prepared to just let them ignore the elephant in the room. These lineal truths have to be revealed in whatever way that means to this situation. If there was something they weren't telling you or they hadn't explained to you properly, this needs to come out. If you had an argument and some unkind things were said, this can't just be brushed under the rug and not acknowledged. But it's making me think of that example I gave of the text conversation, and I'm picturing like you expressing your feelings of how a certain behaviour made you feel, and them only replying to one part of that paragraph, or them just ignoring it and bringing up something else entirely, like they think they can just sweep it away. Like they come up to you as though nothing's happened and they just want to start talking to you again, like, we're good, right? And you're like, no, we're not good. Because if this is a person who you always tried to be good to, whether you were a great friend or a great romantic partner or a great child or a great colleague, but they weren't always best to you, it's like they have the tendency to romanticize any time you shared with them. They're quite nostalgic about it, and they see it all through rose-tinted glasses, and they're bound to, because ultimately, like, you treated them well, you didn't hurt them, but maybe what they're not realizing is it wasn't always as shiny and nice for you as it was for them. So they're looking at it kind of like, oh, like me and Pal 2 just need to hang out again. We had the best times, we had the best relationship, things were amazing, I really need to see what they're up to, I need to talk to them. But on your end, maybe you're more like, well, I did once love this person, but actually things weren't always the best. I didn't always think it was the best friendship or relationship. This person was kind of an asshole to me sometimes, and we need to talk about that. So it's not all fun and games. They can't just slide back in like nothing's happened, but at the same time, there is this sense that they very much view the both of you as like kindred spirits with this lover's energy that is coming through strongly. And for those of you where this is romantic, this very much talks about desire and sensual connections. And obviously we did get that desire card throughout the oracle reading, so this could be something they want with you, or something that they're missing, something they're thinking about, and something they're yearning for. But whoever this is, it's like they think that you're a soulmate. They think you have shared values. They think you'd make some kind of good partnership, and so they don't want to fully lose this connection. Even if the two of you aren't speaking right now, they do desire a reconciliation. They want things to get back to a good place. They want a union here because they feel like there's something really special special about this connection in whichever context applies. So we're going to look at the next 4 cards, and for this portion of the reading, we're going to be looking at why they are spying specifically. So let's take a look at what we pulled for you, pal 2. Okay, so let's have a look at why they're spying. We have the 10 of Cups. We have the Hanged Man. We have Temperance. And we have the Star. Regardless of what's happened between the two of you, pal 2, you are incredibly important to this person with all this major arcana. They do love you in their own way. And that's not me saying you have to give them a chance if they've hurt you. That's not the case, because you can let someone love you from afar if that is what's best for you. And like we said in pal 1, and I am getting a little bit of overlap with pal 1 generally, it doesn't matter that someone loves you if they're not loving you in the ways you need. If they're not showing up for you, you are entitled to speak to them or to not speak to them, whatever is best. But this does feel like some kind of powerful connection in some way. And powerful doesn't mean it's good or it's bad, it just means it's strong. There's a lot of energy here is what I'm saying. I was almost going to say it's all major arcana, but it's not, because we do have the 10 of Cups, but that's still a pretty significant card. And then the rest are major arcana, which is just crazy to me. With this 10 of Cups, and why they're spying on you, it's because they see you as their family. For some of you, it's, like we said, literal biological family. For others of you, it's soul fam, or it's a case of this person wanting to make you a part of their family, or picturing having a family with you. Could even be like family by marriage. I'm hearing that they want to play happy families with you. They feel like they could experience happily ever after with you. They feel like this isn't over. They see something long term with you. Maybe they kind of think, you know, even if we're not talking right now, pal 2 can't really get rid of me. Maybe they're underestimating you though, because some of you definitely can, but they don't want it to go that way, is basically what I'm getting. And with this Hanged Man, they feel like something is currently on pause, but they're checking to see whether you've let go. It could also be that they've gained a new perspective about something. They're seeing things from a different angle. They want to renew things with the Star card, and I think they are hopeful that they can. I think when they watch you in whatever capacity, it brings them a sense of calm. I think this person feels at peace with you with this Temperance as well. For some of you, it's like you're the person that brought balance to their life, and without you, that all kind of falls by the wayside. They think that you're a good addition to have in their life. You're not just a fleeting relationship or a short-lived friendship. Some of you encourage this person's growth and healing, or you inspire them to do better in some way. This connection feels unique. It's like something they haven't experienced before, or something they feel like they won't experience ever again. This soulmate energy, everyone they meet, they're just like, you know, this isn't like with pal 2. The way you guys get each other, they've not ever had anything like that before or since. If you guys had an argument and their pride was in the way, or they were being stubborn, it could be that they're willing to surrender in order to be on good terms with you again. Maybe they're spying on you because for some of you, if you had a falling out, maybe they're wanting to see whether you're still mad. They want to know if you've calmed down. They know, though, that they have to be patient with this. They know they can't just come in all guns blazing or get you riled up again. They have to moderate their emotions. Maybe they haven't always been capable of doing that around you. So this could be like them asking other people how you feel about them, or whether you're still mad, whether you've spoken about this incident, about something that happened, and they're biding their time and considering the best time to approach. For some of you, it's like they're hoping to bump into you and reconcile, maybe at a family gathering or something like that, or some kind of celebration. Obviously, that could apply if they are part of your family, or you know each other's families, or like even if you run in similar social circles. It could be like your chosen family. They're trying to infiltrate that group, or they're in communication with one individual in that group, and they're trying to get information about you that way. It could even be a work situation, like a leaving party, or some kind of celebration, or a Christmas party. This person is maybe thinking, what if I just spoke to pal 2 there? They're considering approaching you. So maybe they're trying to find out if you're going to that event, and that's why they're spying. They're seeing if your name is on the guest list, or they're asking other people if you're going. And the reason I mentioned it could be work, even though we've not got the pentacles or anything like that, is because when I think of family, I think about, you know, how certain companies use that "we're a family here, we help each other out" spiel, usually as a means to guilt their employees into doing unpaid labor. So that's what I'm thinking of with family, and why it could refer to multiple situations here. They could be hoping that fate will bring the two of you together, that you'll end up in the same place at just the right time. They definitely feel like this could be a harmonious relationship. They feel secure with you. They feel safe to be themselves. They could also see you as very important to their well-being, almost like you keep them on track, whether it's through offering advice or encouraging them into good habits or keeping them emotionally stable, or even if it's just a simple action, like say this is a work person and they're always at their desk and they tend to skip lunch, so when you go out and you get your lunch, you bring something back for them. You look out for them in some way, you're good for their health. Whether they are good for yours is a different story, pal too, but they very much view you as a blessing and someone who brings good luck to them. They feel like you were meant to meet for a reason, and they feel like you're also someone they have a lot of fun with, so they just can't let it go and they don't want to let it go. So let's have a look at the next 4 cards, and specifically we're going to be looking at how they are feeling towards you, pal 2. How is this person feeling about the group 2 collective? So let's have a look at what we pulled for you. We have got the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. We have got the 5 of Pentacles in reverse. We have got the King of Swords in reverse. And we have got the Page of Swords. That one's upright. Oh no, we were doing so well, pal 2, and now out come the reversals. They don't know whether you're going to be welcoming towards them, pal 2, with this 5 of Pentacles. Maybe some of them are hoping to see you at an upcoming event, and maybe they're hoping you'll play nice in front of other people. This could be the kind of person who approaches you like, can I get a hug? And they don't know if you'll be receptive to that. I guess it depends on the circumstances. Some of them are not getting a hug, they're getting a knee to the crotch if they're lucky. And that's just a joke. We don't condone violence, even if we might feel like people deserve it at times. When I said that, I was also getting the image of like someone crouching on the ground trying to like coax a feral kitten towards them, and the kitten just hisses and runs away. So that's how it might feel, or they might worry that you will just run away or you'll just ignore them. I think they want to put something behind them. They're hoping for forgiveness, potentially. Some of them might feel like they want to tell you about positive changes they've made. Maybe they're hoping that will make a difference in terms of you reconciling. 5 of Pentacles in reverse can indicate improvement in finances or gaining employment, a job situation changing, somebody making progress. So it's like maybe they want to prove to you that they're doing something differently and that they're progressing. It doesn't necessarily have to be in terms of a job or finances, but I think they want to let you know that they've overcome something. And I think it's something that will allow them to improve things with you in this connection, and they're just hoping that it will make a difference for you. With this Wheel of Fortune in reverse, they could be feeling like whatever happened or didn't happen between you guys, it's like to them it was just bad luck. They're blaming it on something out of their control. They feel like there were setbacks with you and them, but whatever happened that was out of their control or your control, they feel like because that situation is improving or it's no longer going to be causing problems, that means you can put the past behind you and draw a line under it. That is what they're hoping for. Like, these are their feelings, pal 2, so that might not be how you feel. Obviously, it depends on what's happened here. Because the issue is, for some of them, pal 2, they're still not taking accountability for the part that they had to play. And maybe that won't apply for everyone, but for a lot of you, it's like, yes, there have been situations out of this person's control, but that isn't the only cause of hurt in this situation. What's maybe hurt you is the way they have dealt with certain circumstances or the way they have treated you or spoken to you, whereas their focus might be on more of the logistics of the situation rather than the emotional aspects. You know, just as one example, let's say they were going through a hard time financially or they lost their job. If they were snappy with you during that time, or they chose to cause an argument for no reason, or they treated you badly, some of them could be looking back at that situation and glossing over how that made you feel. Like, they're just kind of saying, yeah, I was being a bit of a dick, but I was going through a hard time and that hard time is over now, so that won't happen again because I've got a job now. And maybe you're more like, okay, but what about when another hard time happens? Like, is this going to happen again, or are you going to treat me like this again? Your apprehension wasn't to do with them not having a job. You knew that they would find another job, most likely. It was to do with the way they dealt with you during that time. Obviously, it doesn't have to be that specific example. You can apply it to any situation, but you get what I mean. It's kind of like they're wanting to put all the blame on these external things. And on your end, I think you're hesitant because maybe you're thinking, if you love and care for someone, regardless of whether this is romantic or a family member or friend situation, you get through these hard times together. You need to act as a team, and it didn't feel like this person was showing up in that way. They weren't being like a teammate during this time. If this is a co-parent or anything like that, it could be to do with that, like they weren't a very present parent or they didn't assist with parenting as they should have done. Maybe it was an argument about that, and this person, they're kind of saying, well, it's because I was really sleep deprived, but now I've had my rest and now I can show up differently. And that's fine, but it's like, well, what about when they get sleep deprived again? Like, are they going to be snappy with you again? Are they going to cause arguments again when that happens? You need this person to consistently show up for you, and I feel like they're glossing over some of the issues. Like, again, doesn't have to be that example, but that's the general theme in whatever way this resonates to your personal situation. Maybe some of them feel like you brought structure to their life, and without you, it feels like they're lacking that. They might know that they behaved rudely or dishonestly or irrationally towards you. The King of Swords reverse can sometimes indicate an absent father. Again, that doesn't have to be the case, but I did just get something about like co-parenting. It doesn't have to be with a literal child. For some of you, it might be, but for others of you, it's just this sense of this person didn't show up for you when you needed them to, and they're very much aware of this. There's something about them missing important milestones. Like, maybe if anything happened that was important to them, you made sure to support them, you made sure to always be there. But when it was the other way around, there was always some excuse, or they just weren't there when you needed them to be. Kind of makes me think of what we were saying earlier in the reading about investing all your emotional energy into someone and getting very little in return. And now I'm getting the image in my head of someone stood outside of a building in the dark, in the rain, soaked wet through because the person who was meant to be picking them up didn't show up. And it doesn't literally have to be that, but it makes me think of a parent not picking a child up from school, or a husband not being at a wife's birth of their child, or maybe a friend who you always babysit for, but the one time you need them to look after your kids in an emergency, it's too much for them. It can be anything, but I think this person is aware that they were not the best. Even if they're not taking as much accountability as they should be, they definitely acknowledge that they haven't been acting quite right. Some of them could have felt like they were too judgmental with you or cold towards you, but I think this is something that came from a place of insecurity and envy, quite frankly. They could be aware that they tried to put you down sometimes and that wasn't fair, but I think they're losing their head over you, pal, too, because I think this period of separation has made them really appreciate what they had with you. And with this Page of Swords, I think they know they're going to have to be patient when it comes to you. They also know they're going to have to think before they speak. They don't want to get drawn into any arguments, and I think that's why they are asking about you. They've been inquisitive, they've been curious. It goes back to what we said with them maybe trying to suss out if you're still mad. The Page of Swords can sometimes refer to gossip, so it could be like they've been gossiping with mutual people you know about you, but I think it's more with the intention of trying to find out where you're at in life and trying to find out if there's a way for them to get in. Maybe they miss gossiping with you, maybe they just want to chat with you and catch up. They feel like they know that there's been a delay here. They're aware that you might be on guard as well when they approach you, and they understand that. I think they want to try and get you to lower your guard, but they know that you might not. They know you're going to be a little bit more vigilant and protective of your energy. They are expecting that. But they know it's important for you and them to have a conversation. They want to be truthful about something. They're willing to be more direct, and they're hoping that that will provide some clarity. So now we are going to look at the next 4 cards, and this will be asking what are their next actions towards pile 2. So let's have a look at what we got for you. Okay, their next actions. We've got the Queen of Wands reversed. We've got the 10 of Wands. We've got the Empress. And we've got the Queen of Swords. Okay, some of them have an awareness that their energy hasn't been the best as of late, and I think they're still working through some stuff when it comes to that, because I think they know when they approach you, the conversation has to be honest and candid. With this Queen of Swords in particular, there has to be some taking accountability, and maybe the energy they're in right now, they're not totally capable of that, because some of them are still in a little bit of a pity party mode right now with this 10 of Wands. A lot of them are still feeling overwhelmed, they're stressed, they're feeling restricted, or like they have a lot of responsibilities. I think they know that not being part of your life has made them lose their way. They could be appreciating how much you did for them, because right now it feels like everything is on them. But they do see an end in sight. I think they are determined to keep going and eventually make peace in this situation with you. With this Queen of Wands reversed, I think there's an acknowledgement that a lot of how they've been behaving has to do with their own low self-esteem and lack of confidence. Maybe they're aware that they've been taking some of that out on you, and I get the impression that maybe when you guys first had a disagreement, this is the kind of person who could have been quite petty or malicious about it initially. Queen of Wands reverse can be very catty, gossipy, spiteful kind of energy. This could be someone who made a situation more dramatic than it needed to be. Like, this is the type of person where if you had an argument, they would post indirect quotes about you on social media to try to garner attention or to try to turn other people against you. They maybe got other people involved, like in your business, when it really didn't have to be that way. If this is a family or friend situation and you have mutual people on social media, it's like what this person said could have led to other people in that family or friendship group or reaching out to you and asking what's going on, drawing attention to it. And I think that could have solidified your decision of wanting to distance yourself from this person, because you can't be doing with all of that drama. It's just the kind of person where if they do something wrong and they have to be accountable for it, they'll spin a sob story and try and make it seem like you're a nasty person for holding them accountable. I don't know, like one example could be like if this is a romantic partnership, you find out this person cheats on you, so you kick them out of your house that you paid for, and then they're posting on social media about how you kicked them out for no reason and how they're homeless now, but they don't tell people the full story. This is definitely the kind of person who would make videos of themselves crying to put on TikTok to try and elicit sympathy or money or something like that. So they could have tried to weave this kind of narrative to other people that you were the bad person, but at the same time, they didn't want to let you go. So they could go back and forth between being a troublemaker and then trying to be super nice and friendly, so you don't really know where you stand with them. It could be like 1 minute they'll post this indirect that you know is about you, and the next they'll be trying to pop up and saying like, hey, how are you? I think you've been baffled by this, but also like, you're just done with it. Like, where do you even stand with this person? So maybe you've just removed yourself or you've created this distance. And now I definitely think they realise that this wasn't the right way to proceed with you and that it hasn't gotten them anywhere because they're exhausted. All this lying and manipulating the situation has gotten them nowhere because ultimately they want you back in their life, and this is absolutely not the way to go about it. You could have tried to shut them out as much as possible because you could sense that their intentions were not the best, and maybe you felt like they were trying to push their way back into your life, but they were being quite overbearing and nosy, like asking other people about you, for example. And if this got back to you, maybe you just chose to remain quiet, not really tell anyone much about your life because you didn't want to give this person the privilege of having access to that information. Maybe they were just sticking their nose in places it didn't belong. But what we did get when we looked at the previous 4 cards is that now they do know they need to be more patient and they do need to approach things more genuinely. So maybe this is a lesson they've learned. Maybe they've figured out a lot of their actions come from their own jealousy and insecurity. They've realised they've been temperamental or argumentative with you in the past when actually it wasn't your fault. They shouldn't have taken some of these situations out on you. If they're still in more of this Queen of Wands reversed energy, it could be that initially it's taken them some time to get to this place of acknowledging the part they had to play. But I think that once they do, they are going to be reaching out to you in a very different way with this Empress and with the Queen of Swords. I think they really want to try and be open-minded and they want to be receptive to constructive criticism. I think they're going to be seeing things for what they actually are and being more realistic and objective about what went down between the two of you. They're going to realise that they can't just gloss over this incident or blame it on something unrelated. If they want to have a good relationship with you, whatever the nature of that relationship is, they're going to have to be willing to listen to you and take what you say on board. It can't be a one-sided conversation. I think the shift in their personality might actually be quite shocking to you, pal, too. Some of them, and I know this won't apply to everyone, so only take it if it resonates, but some of them could have been needing help with their mental health for a long time. So if they have been getting that help during the time they've been away from you, this could explain the big shift in personality, because I'm not sensing that this is going to be something they're putting on. The Queen of Swords is all about being genuine, so I don't think they're going to be faking this. And it's almost like, if this was ever a person you felt was overly sensitive, like to criticism, or you felt as though you had to step on eggshells around them, or sometimes when you mentioned that something was bothering you, they'd flip it back on you or make out like you're the problem. This Queen of Swords is showing up as someone so different to that. Whereas they used to try and place the blame on you or flip it back round or manipulate things, it's like the energy they're stepping into, if you tell them what was bothering you, they just acknowledge it. And that's a massive thing for this person if they never did that before. They're like, yeah, I was on some bullshit when I spoke to you like that. I'm going to be honest, it's because I was jealous. It's because I was insecure, but I'm working through this with my therapist. It's like they're going to be actually apologetic and they're not going to try and use you as a scapegoat. They're going to be fair when it comes to hearing you out. I don't think they're going to be approaching you saying like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that, but you shouldn't have made me feel jealous. They're not going to be putting the onus on you for their emotional state. They're going to be learning more about how to regulate their emotions. They're going to be like, yeah, I did this and it wasn't right. For some of them, if this was a mental health issue, it could have been that they were dealing with an undiagnosed issue that meant they couldn't see things clearly. I don't want to actually diagnose anyone on the internet. I am not qualified to do that. But it's more if they've already got like that kind of diagnosis that you know about, or if you suspected that. But the way it seems like their emotions have been all-consuming and flip-flopping in the past, this could be in relation to some kind of mood disorder. And again, it's not an excuse. This person knows this, or they will do when they get to this place, but it is an explanation, because not having support for this issue could have led to them viewing you as the problem because they were paranoid. It could also be paranoia and extreme emotional outbursts due to drinking or smoking, or even just not getting enough sleep, something like that. So maybe when this person returns to you, they're like, I was out of line when I was drinking, so I've given up drinking because it made me paranoid. It made me blame everyone else for my problems, and I don't like that side of myself. It could feel for some of you like you've got the old them back. Like when you meet, they're funny, they're witty, they're a really great and open communicator. It could be that they're also showing you a softer side with this Empress, especially if in the past they sometimes came across as blunt or they lacked tact or they were a little bit aggressive. It seems like they've been developing their communication skills in some way, and it's as though they've developed more of a sense of empathy. Maybe that's something that was lacking before. So now when they talk to you, they're being more nurturing when it comes to your conversational needs. Because the Empress is about creativity, this could imply that this person is trying to find creative ways to reach out to you. I guess this could apply if they are blocked or anything like that. And I think at the very beginning, we might have mentioned something about this person trying to just coincidentally show up somewhere where you are. So it could refer to that. It could even be something minor but sort of ridiculous, like one day they see you with a Tesco's shopping bag, so even though they usually shop at Aldi, they decide to start doing their shopping at Tesco's hoping to bump into you. They get really creative with it because maybe they feel like that's the only way right now, like they actually have to try to bump into you in person because they know if it's online or if it's via text, you can just ignore them, which is your prerogative, by the way, but I'm just talking about what they think, like their actions. So if you see them in real life and you decide you don't want to talk to them and that ship has sailed, that's perfectly valid, pal, too. They want it to not be that way, but ultimately that is up to you. You know, that's always up to you. So that is what I'm getting for the tarot portion of your reading. Let's finish this reading up with a little bit of closing guidance from the Moonology Oracle. So let's have a look at what we pulled for you, pal, too. Okay, so we have got expect powerful change, new moon eclipse. This could be something that occurred during the last eclipse, maybe, although that does not have to be the case. But yeah, I mean, I think we could see that there is potential for powerful change to take place, even just with those last 4 cards that we looked at, because that Queen of Wands reversed energy is almost opposite to the Queen of Swords and Empress upright energy. So I think, like, if you guys are in separation, this person could be having a lot of realizations behind the scenes right now. And with this being the new moon, it's again making me think of that thing, and I think I said it in another reading recently, but it's like you can't always see the new moon, but it's there, and that makes me think of, again, going back to what we said in the oracle, there's things you don't know yet, maybe there's truths yet to be revealed, maybe if you and this person do decide to have a conversation, things are going to be brought into the light, and that will allow you to make more of an informed decision on what you want to do in this situation going forward. The new moon is always indicative of like a fresh start, a fresh chapter, and I definitely think that that's something this person wants with you. And again, if you don't want that with them, this could just indicate you officially deciding that the two of you need to release each other and have a fresh start in your lives as individuals. But on the flip side, if this is someone who you do see potential with and you want to give them a chance to reconnect with you, it could be that they are showing up in an entirely different energy. Sometimes the best way of taking accountability is through a consistent commitment to changing our behaviour. And listen, I know I reiterate it a lot throughout readings like this because I never want to encourage you to stay in or return to a situation that isn't good for you. And I do think if someone has hurt you or they have treated you badly, even just once, that's enough of a reason to disengage from them. You can disengage from anyone at any time for any reason because you are not obligated to have a relationship with anyone if you don't want that. But I do think sometimes having that honest conversation can provide clarity, and I do think that people are capable of change, and particularly if it's something like with mental health, if this person was literally in a manic phase at the time you dealt with them because they didn't have access to the right treatment, they didn't have a diagnosis, obviously they're going to be very, very different when they're on the correct medication. Maybe the real them was cloaked by some kind of mental illness or other obstacle. With this imagery of the eclipse too, it's making me think of like a cloak, something hiding the real truth. Does that mean you have to excuse what they did during the manic phase? No, absolutely not. But somebody being open about what they were dealing with might help put things into perspective for you, and it might help you decide what's best for yourself. It's always better, I think, to have all the facts, especially if you were ever a person who was like, you know, did they do this because of me? Are they acting this way because of me? It could be simple clarity for you that no, it wasn't to do with you, or no, there's nothing you could have done because they were dealing with this other thing and there's things you didn't know. So definitely expect powerful change from this person if you are willing to accept them back into your life in some small way. It doesn't have to be all at once, or it doesn't have to be at all. But that is what I am getting for your reading, pal, too. I really, really hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did enjoy the reading, please just take a tiny little second to like the video. Please, if you get a chance, leave me a comment, let me know what resonated, or even if it's just to let me know which pal you picked. that helps me very, very much if you're not comfortable saying what resonated. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. I am trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, so every single subscriber helps, and I notice every single one. So with that said, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourself. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I will see you in the next reading. Hi Pile 3 Collective! If you chose the Teddy Tarot and you chose the Patrick Bateman sticker, you are in the correct place. Welcome to your reading, friends. This reading is all about who is spying on you and why. They're peeping, they're creeping, but what do they want with you? We are going to be diving deep into who this is, their energy toward you and the connection, why they're spying, how they are feeling about you, and their next actions. If you would like a full breakdown regarding what this reading will entail, then please check out my introduction. I go through absolutely everything there. But as usual, we are going to start with the oracle reading / energy check. So I'm just going to try to pop your tarot cards to one side for now so we can focus on these oracle cards. So let's have a look at what we pulled for you today, Pile 3. Okay, so we have got Memories Comfort Us. We have got number 5, Coach, Advice, Obedience, Knowledge. We have got number 4, Emotion, Cucumber. And we have got Bound. I'm just trying to make sure that all the cards are in frame here. So I like to start off by mentioning the numbers on the cards in case any of these are significant to you in terms of ages, dates, angel numbers, synchronicities you are seeing a lot of, etc. These don't have to apply, but it's just a little bit of extra confirmation if they do. So here we have number 5 and number 4. Feel free to go ahead and look those up if you feel they might be relevant. I'm just going to read from the guidebook regarding this Bound card to give you a little bit more context for this particular energy. So we have bound. What binds you? What is keeping you from reaching what you want? Sometimes all that is left to do is cut the rope that binds you. Undo the knot and set yourself free. Only you can do this. This chapter is for you and you alone. Your soul has wings to fly, but you cannot fly far if you are tied to the ground beneath you. You need to find a way to free yourself. There is so much more to do, to see, to smell, to hear, to taste, to feel. There is a whole infinite universe just waiting for you to explore it, to seek out its treasures and secrets. These ropes that have you bound are preventing you from showing the world your true and pure light. This knotted rope may be representative of a relationship, a deeply held belief, a self-limiting thought, a part of how society is, which has you tied up and unable to move in the direction you want, but there is always a way to save yourself, to liberate yourself. So that could be significant in terms of this connection, in terms of you, in terms of this person. Interestingly, when I used the Green Witch Oracle in another reading a few weeks ago, we got this emotion card showing up then. It might have been the Who is Falling for You reading, so maybe if you pick that pile in that reading, then this could be extra confirmation that this is the pile for you, or even that we're discussing the same person here today. So the person who's spying on you, Pile 3, a certain part of this message I'm getting is actually really, really sweet, because there are definitely very strong feelings here with emotion, but also with bound. This is somebody who I think feels tied to you in some way. They feel deeply connected to you. And I'm hearing this message like even if you're not around or even if they're not with you. This card could also indicate that this person feels bound to something and that it might be something that has been or is an obstacle to this connection. So for a group of you, I actually think that you and this person are already in some kind of connection or a romantic relationship, but they're spying on you because they're not able to spend as much time with you as they'd like. There could be something preventing them from being in the physical with you right now, such as a long distance relationship, or it could just be that they're extremely busy, working a lot, or your schedules clash. Like maybe someone here works night shifts, so when one of you is up, the other is asleep, something like that. So you don't get to talk or interact as often as you'd like. But with this bound card, it's making me think no matter what's going on, where you are, what you're up to, or whether or not you've spoken that day, you're always on this person's mind. They always feel some kind of pull to you. But the other message I'm getting for some of you in those instances where you are not officially with this person in a relationship or anything like that, it's like there's this element of both of you feeling a pull or a bond here, but knowing for whatever reason that you can't be together or this can't become anything. Maybe because someone is tied to something and they feel like it's too big of an obstacle to overcome. I'm also getting a message here about forbidden love, and please bear in mind that doesn't have to refer to any kind of third party or affair situation. For one or two of you, in all honesty, it could be. And if that's the case, I don't condone acting in a way that may knowingly hurt another person. But this feels more like It could be some kind of unintentional slip into emotional affair territory. And potentially here, when there was this realization of what was happening, or like, oh shit, there's deeper feelings here, or these romantic feelings are coming up, they're not supposed to be here, someone pulled back or someone had to create boundaries. They chose to distance themselves because they felt that it was wrong. So this is someone or two people like trying to do the right thing, I think, or what they believe is the right thing. So this could very well be something that started off as a friendship, but the bond became more intense than what either person initially planned. With this advice phrase showing up on the coach card, it could even have been that this just started off as two people giving each other honest advice or just being a support system for one another. But then without either person really realizing, it started developing into something else. And maybe one or both people felt they had to pull back because those emotions were becoming too much, because maybe somebody was in a commitment with another person, or both people were. But that bond hasn't been broken because somebody here keeps returning to memories of it. I don't know if this is like office attire that the man on the card is wearing, but this could almost be like a work husband or a work wife situation gone awry. Like it started off as just two people assisting each other and being there for each other in a professional capacity, but then as more time was spent together, it slowly started becoming something more, and that felt dangerous to one or both people here. But to cover these other situations and examples of what forbidden love could mean, it doesn't have to be that there is any kind of other person involved, at least not in a romantic context. This could be like someone is someone's boss and they feel like a workplace relationship would be unethical. It could be something to do with culture or tradition or religious beliefs, like the two of you are different in that way. It could be that somebody feels bound to their family's cultural traditions, somebody wouldn't be accepted in someone's family. It could be an arranged marriage situation or a marriage of convenience, but due to a certain belief system, somebody doesn't believe in divorce, they don't believe in separation. So the people in that arrangement aren't allowed to go off and find their true soulmate. They're just stuck in this situation due to legal documents, but it's essentially loveless, something like that. It could be that someone here is LGBTQ, but they had to hide this due to an outdated belief system. So they know that even though feelings are there, it could never be anything long term. They can't introduce you to their family or something like that. Could be just that there's a knowing that this can't develop into something long term because one person knows they're moving to a different country for work by the end of the year. And maybe it's too soon for someone to uproot their life and decide to like live together. So maybe this is being stopped before it even really got started, because there's a knowing from both of you that if you gave this a chance, you'd really fall hard. And that can't happen because you can't be everything you need to be for each other with whatever you have going on in your lives respectively right now. Could be that somebody just feels like they are too tied up with another life situation, maybe a legal situation, a separation, childcare, working on their finances. They have too much going on generally but still feel tied to you, but it's like it's not the right time or something like that. Could be that somebody has to return some videotapes with you choosing the Patrick Bateman sticker. They have to go and do something first. That's the energy that I'm getting. So you're either with this person, but there's some kind of feeling of separation or not getting quality time together right now, and neither of you want that, but it feels like an obligation. So, for example, someone is like, I don't want to be working this night shift and never seeing my partner, but I feel like I just have to, or, I don't want to be long distance, but I have to be for a while. And if it's not that, you're not with them, but there's a feeling of wanting to be, and you're not staying apart because it's what you genuinely want. It feels like it's either for the benefit of other people or it's just due to external influences. But whether it's that situation or the previous situation, this person is using the memories they have of you as some form of comfort. And also with obedience showing up on this coach card, it's making me think that someone here feels like they have to follow the rules with this, because I'm hearing the phrase company policy. So if this is a work thing, it's maybe something like employees can't date, like that's in the handbook or something, that's in your contract. Or it could be this person being obedient to the rules of their family or culture, saying, I have to be with someone who shares my religious beliefs, or I can't be with this person that I really want to be with because my family wouldn't approve. Or for some of them, they'd be like cut out of a will or an inheritance, and that could play a part. Or it could just be someone saying, we can't be together until something happens officially or properly, or something is finalized. It's like, maybe we can be together once this thing is finalized. So that could be like a divorce, or it could just be somebody finishing a work placement or coming home after being in another location. It's like, once I've completed that, we can work on us, but right now it's not possible. We can't see each other or be near each other as much as we'd like in this current moment. With cucumber, it's just making me think of water. So water sign energy could be significant here, although it does not have to be. This could also just be indicating that this person has been emotional about the situation. Maybe they have even cried about this, even if it's just privately. Somebody here has got upset thinking about the way things are. This person or you could be some kind of coach, or they have been some kind of mentor figure for you in the past, or you have with them, whichever applies. It could be that they're a teacher or a gym instructor, like a fitness coach, or they're some kind of life coach, or they teach something, they have online courses, even if it's not in a stereotypically like traditional sense. If it's not that, it could just be that this is the kind of person who has a lot of random knowledge about a lot of random things, and these are things that you have spoken about, or this is one of the things that you bond over or that you like about them. Maybe you could be like that. I don't know why, because it doesn't look exactly like this, but this imagery on the bound card is making me think of the infinity symbol. So maybe it feels like you and this person have an infinite bond, or just that that symbol is significant to one or to both of you in some way. Maybe infinity symbol tattoos or something like that. It could just feel like a never-ending loop. Your minds are always wandering back to one another. For one or two of you, this could be a person from your past where things have actually ended, but they hold a special place for you in their heart, and now they're bound by other things, but they find themselves returning to memories of you. You're never fully separated from this person. It could feel like you're picking up on their energy a lot of the time. But when I said earlier, like, this is kind of a sweet energy, it's because the way they're spying on you, it's like they're kind of doing it to self-soothe. There isn't an ulterior motive of like, I'm creeping up on pal 3 to see if they're single, or I'm checking out pal 3's social media so I can gossip about them. It's truly like they're spying on you because it's a genuine source of comfort for them, and they get these fuzzy, warm feelings whenever they look at you. And a lot of this, I think, involves past memories, so I think it could almost be some form of telepathic spying. And this could apply particularly if you are sensitive and you're intuitive and this person randomly pops up in your mind. It could be that this is actually this person's energy you're picking up on, like when you're thinking of them, it's because they're thinking of you. Because I think right when they go to sleep, they might replay memories that they had with you, and they could wonder what you're up to in that moment. So then maybe they dream about you or you dream about them. You guys have a way of connecting astrally or something like that. If you have been intimate with this person, I think they probably replay that a lot. But a lot of it, I think, is more emotional stuff, like something you said that stood out to them, they think about. Even if you haven't been intimate or it doesn't feel as though you've had those super in depth conversations, it's like they will replay whatever interaction they had with you. And it's almost like a ritual. Is that the right word? Or like a compulsion, because they're wondering how things could have gone differently, but they often return to it. If you're in a relationship but it feels like there's physical or emotional distance right now, it could be them planning their next date with you in their mind, like how they'd surprise you, how good things are going to be when you get to reconnect. They could be thinking about that. They could be wishing they had more time with you, or that they will have more time with you. It feels like they're having to be strong about something, or you both are. I'm hearing the phrase, it's what's for the best right now. I mean, maybe for some of you, this thing that this person is bound to is more of a restriction they've imposed on themselves. And maybe it's just they need to go away and do some work on themselves, mature emotionally, so they can be in a better space to have a connection. Because even if you both want this, maybe someone here knows if you were to be together at this time, they won't be able to show up the way they'd like. So there's been a boundary put up, and it feels like someone saying, this is crappy, but I do know that it's for the best. This space is needed. We need to do our inner work. It could be one of you, it could be both of you. Maybe one needs to heal their anxious attachment and one needs to heal their avoidant attachment before coming back together, something like that. If this person has any pictures or videos of you or the two of you together, they're looking at those a lot. But I'm getting something about a hidden folder, and that doesn't mean they have to be like spicy images. For some of you, they might be, but I really feel like this person is just very private and almost protective when it comes to the time they spend with memories of you, looking at your photographs. It's like their little safe space that they return to throughout the day. So even if it's just selfies of your face or something like that, they take the time to really look at the details and remember what it's like to be near you. And this might be something they keep hidden. They don't tell anybody about this. I also keep hearing the word linked, or like your phones are linked, or some kind of device is linked, and that's a way you stay connected. That could apply particularly to those of you in relationships. So they spy on you via this link, but it's in kind of a cute way. The thing this is making me think of is like maybe they can access one of your playlists, even if they're not physically with you. They can see what you're listening to, or if your accounts are linked on Netflix, they can see what you've been watching and it makes them smile. I think if they have access to your social media or anything like that, when they see you, when they look at you, it just makes them happy. I'm getting like they only wish the very best for you. So this feels incredibly genuine. If you're in a relationship, this could be just them seeing what you've posted and being like, I really hope Pal 3 is having the best day, even if I can't message them right now. Like, maybe if this is your partner, but they work long hours, it's like they look at what you've posted on your story, because that's like 2 seconds that they get in a day to just check in with you. They like to make sure that you're doing good or that you're in a good mood or something. If this is someone even who you live with, but you're kind of like ships passing in the night in terms of your work hours, it could be like they enjoy seeing what you watched that morning before you left for work, or they notice little things you leave around the house. Maybe some of you like leave each other notes. I'm seeing a little note with like a smiley face and like a heart. But when they do these things where they notice like things you've left around the house, it makes them smile because it reminds them of your presence, and that's something they feel has been lacking regardless of the circumstances surrounding this. But on the other hand, if this is someone who has feelings for you but you can't be together right now, or you're no longer together, whatever it is, it's like this person would be genuinely happy to see you happy. So they spy on you as a means of like just ensuring you're okay. Like they keep a protective and watchful eye on you, even if they're tied up with other things. They like to know that you're okay. They still consider you their person in some kind of way. I do think for the majority of people, this definitely feels more romantic. For a couple of you, this could be more of a platonic thing, and you can interpret this as a friend or family member who has this bond to you. But for most, I do think it is romantic. And the song I keep getting in my head for this pile is a song called Peach by Kevin Abstract. I'm going to read a couple of the lyrics that are standing out to me in particular. So it says, I'm not the type to tell my homies about you, you're not the type to hold me down through the year. But straight after that, he says something like, I'll be your baby doll and your bodyguard if you tell me to. I'll try to make it all not as hard if you let me through. Obviously, the lyrics sound way better and more meaningful when someone actually sings them, but unfortunately, I cannot sing, so I'm sorry, that's all you're getting from me. Go and look up that song, though. It is a really nice song. But whenever I hear that song, when it comes on, it always makes me think of a relationship where you kind of know that it's not going to work because the two of you are so different, but you feel such a strong connection with the person that you want to try anyway. Because there's some element of someone being like, everything in me is saying this won't work long term, but fuck it, I'll do what it takes. And it also makes me think of like, let's enjoy the moment. Let's enjoy what we have right now, even if we know for whatever reason it can't last forever. I'll give you everything I have to give in this moment, even if we can't have it for the rest of our lives. So, this is making me think that for some of you, there's one particular moment that you both think about a lot. For some of you, it could have been the last time you saw each other, or you hugged, or you were intimate. You had maybe this profound goodbye or this profound moment, and you put all your emotions into it because you didn't know if it was going to be the last time. Maybe for some of you, it was like, fuck it, I'm going to do something to make them remember me, and they do, so clearly it's worked. There's something like, this is the last chance we're going to get to do this, so let's make the most of it. And you both reflect on it a lot. Oh, guys, I kind of ship it. It's making me sad though. I feel like this is something from a romance novel. It's very, we want to be together, but we can't. It's very star-crossed lovers of you. But let's have a look at the tarot, and we're going to see if we can elaborate on this energy a little bit more. I hope you're enjoying the reading so far, Pal 3, and I will see you in the tarot portion. Hi, Pal 3 Collective. Welcome back to the tarot portion of your reading. Without hesitation, let's get started and have a look at the first 4 cards that we pulled for you. Okay, let's pop your sticker here and let's have a look, Pile 3. So we have got Temperance reversed. We've got the 10 of Pentacles. We've got the Knight of Wands reversed. And we have got the 7 of Wands reversed. 10 of Pentacles. Oh, it's really interesting because the 10 of Pentacles is generally one of the most positive cards to get. But the message I'm getting here with these other cards is something about this person playing happy families. And I'm also hearing something about following the status quo out of obligation. And it's making this person feel out of balance, but they feel like they have to abide by some kind of rule, even if that means being in a situation where they're not truly happy. So, similarly to what we said in your oracle reading, there could be themes here of tradition, of following conventions because it's what's expected of someone, settling down or doing something because it's the choice we feel like we should make rather than the choice we actually want. This choice could be influenced by finances or by an opportunity to inherit something, or it has to do with a business empire or creating a legacy. I think we might have mentioned in the oracle like somebody doesn't want to lose their inheritance or be cut out of a will, something along those lines. Someone thinks it's best just to opt for the stable thing rather than going against conventions and potentially creating disputes or making other people unhappy. Maybe someone just feels like they've invested too much into something to give it up now, even if it's no longer aligning with them. They feel like they've gotten in too deep or there's no choice. And I keep thinking of the Truman Show for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm getting, when I'm looking at this card, like on the surface, it's this happy little life, but it's all fake, or it's all a pretense. It's all keeping up appearances, keeping up with the Joneses, like that kind of vibe. Because on this card, it's such a lovely family scene. It's everything that anyone would want, but this person doesn't want it, or they no longer do. It could have been what they thought they wanted, but it just isn't. So this could be them, it could be you to some degree, it could be both, or just one of you. And it could even be someone here convincing themselves that everything is okay. Like, I'm so lucky, I've got the perfect wife or perfect husband, and the family, and the dog, and the cat, we've got food on the table. Look at us, like, this is all just perfect, it's complete, it's wholesome, it's this beautiful family picture. But as much as they're affirming to themselves, I'm lucky to have this, they're not actually feeling it and they're not actually present in that moment because they're yearning for something that's far off. They're yearning for something outside of that. And I think they actually feel really bad for that. It's like they're trying to remind themselves that they should feel grateful for what they have. So you don't have to interpret this as somebody wanting to step out on their actual physical family. I mean, it could be if, say, you had a connection with this individual when they were separated from their partner, and now your connection has had to come to an end, maybe for some of you before it even really got off the ground because this person decided they had to return for the sake of keeping the family together or for the kids or something. That could very well apply, but it could also be the example of like, I have to opt for a relationship that my parents approve of because then I'll get the financial stability I need, or I have to stay in this certain job even if it means not spending time with my partner because the money will make us happy. But it isn't doing, it feels like a front. If this was an emotional connection and there were feelings there but nothing happened, for just one or two of you, it could be that boundaries had to be made. The two of you could no longer be in contact because you didn't want to do anything wrong towards your respective partners. But even without contact, the feelings or the thought of what could be, that hasn't gone away. You could still be thinking a lot about the potential. And now, like, one or both people are focusing on dating or being in a relationship with someone they're not really into because they feel like they've invested too much time into that situation and it's too late to go back or start afresh with someone new. So they're just ignoring this bond and it's still surfacing despite time or despite difference. But maybe it's like somebody has put a band-aid on their relationship, like they've said, let's move in together or let's get engaged, because they're hoping that that will stop the feelings. But again, it isn't. It's just sort of putting a band-aid over the deeper problems. I don't know, that's a message for someone. And if that person is you, like you've gone back to a connection and the commitment has deepened in some way, I think this person could be very jealous. It's kind of conflicting feelings though, because ultimately they do want what is best for you. And if they couldn't give you that, a part of them is truly happy and relieved that you're finding it elsewhere. But another part of them is maybe still very much attached to the what if. The potential could be haunting them, and it might be that there's this build-up of resentment towards their own life and their own situation. It could be that they've got a bit of a chip on their shoulder right now, or they're easily agitated, they're quick to rile. It could be that they're feeling stressed or feeling like they're taking this out on certain people in their life. Everything these people around them do is just annoying to them because there's this deeper sense of like, they want something different or they want to be with you. They don't really want to be in this situation. I think they feel a lack of enthusiasm towards their life generally at the moment. They're feeling very worn down or very complacent. They feel like they've been forced to give up on this connection between the two of you, even if they truly believe it is a strong connection. They've had to give in for the benefit of someone or something else. It feels like they've surrendered or they lack the courage to change something when it comes to their situation. They feel like there's no choice but to quit on this. They don't have enough courage to make something work or to stand up for their convictions. If they've had someone external telling them that the connection between the two of you is wrong in some way or that it can't happen, They have a belief deep down that this connection isn't wrong. They feel it's right, or they feel like you're the right person for them, but it wouldn't be the easiest thing in the world to be with you. So they folded on that belief. They're trying to ignore it, or they're trying to tell themselves they're doing the right thing by surrendering or letting what happens happen. Oh, some of them could feel like they're sharing their territory. So this could apply if this is a past person or someone who had to let you go. If they see you with someone else or they see you trying to move on, there's this feeling of like, well, pal three belongs with me. But at the same time, if that's the case, they can't blame you because they couldn't expect you to stay single or remain celibate forever if you and them couldn't be a thing. They're kind of saying, what did I expect? Like, I knew this would happen at some point. But some of them hate that they've opened the door to allow other people to encroach on their territory. So it's mixed feelings because there's jealousy, there's resentment, but there's also deep, profound, and genuine love. They want you to be happy and they wish that they were the ones making you happy. But if they can't, if they're not, they're kind of happy that someone else is. Even if you're not dating anyone else, if you have some kind of emotional support system, it's like they wish they were the ones making you smile. But just knowing that you are okay or you're safe or someone is protecting you is enough for them for now in some ways. Well, it's not enough for them because they do want more, but anything basically is better than seeing you unhappy. That's something I'm getting because they do care, and I think they really do get upset when they know that you're upset. So it could be that they're spying because they feel like they can't talk to you, because if they did, these emotions would come tumbling out. But maybe there's something where it feels like you guys are too different. There's a clash in perspectives. There's something big that you can't overcome, maybe to do with values or how you see your future going. It could be like spiritual beliefs, or even, someone wanting kids and someone not wanting kids. It's some big challenge and some big difference. But it's kind of like, but why all the feelings though? Because there are these strong feelings that neither of you really can just get past. So someone here is saying like, why has God or the universe or whatever put this person in my life and made them feel so much like my person if they know that we can never be together or that we can't be together right now? This person or you could have somebody in your life who shows up like the Knight of Wands in reverse. Someone who is arrogant or overconfident or jealous or volatile, someone who can be quite domineering. This could be this person's toxic family member or ex-partner or a boss or colleague, someone who overburdens them or puts a lot of pressure on them, someone who is forcing them to be obedient to some degree. I think this is a person who is wearing them down a lot. And this Knight of Wands reverse person is in your person's head a lot, but in a bad way. Like maybe this person just has some kind of hold over them, so they're always having to consider what this person would think or say or do. They can't seem to make a decision without consulting this person. They have to accept it. This person could be very controlling, like this is a person who spies on them a lot. Or if it's a boss, they decline all their holiday requests. They don't let them have time off. Or if it's just a toxic person in their life, it's like maybe they check their phone or they don't let them go anywhere by themselves. So I think that's maybe why this time they spend thinking of the memories with you or looking at pictures, that's why that's so special to them, because it's their welcome reprieve from their day-to-day obligations. It's a time when it feels like it's just you and them, even if you can't be with each other. There could be something about cancelled travel here, like someone was meant to come and see you and they didn't, you had to rearrange, or it never got rearranged. But this person is definitely feeling like, whatever the case may be, this situation is unfinished, this won't be the end. They're hoping to interact with you or connect with you again. They're hoping to see you again. I'm hearing the phrase, it's right, but not right now, which is like, this person knows this is something. If you don't think they know, they do know, but they can't right now. They're saying they just can't. Whatever they're presenting on the surface isn't what they're actually experiencing on the inside. And I think if this person could tell you that, then they would. But they just feel like they have to release control of this for now. And that's uncomfortable for them because they're feeling like they've failed to step up and protect you. They can't be there to do that. But I think they're in an energy of not really knowing what else to do. So let's have a look at why they're spying on you, pal 3. I mean, I think we have already discussed some of that, but we're going to see if we can go a little bit deeper and ask that with the next 4 cards. So let's have a look at what we've pulled. Okay, so why are they spying, pal 3? We have got Justice reversed. We've got the 8 of Wands. We've got the King of Pentacles. And we've got the Tower reversed. Okay. They're spying on you because I think it's all they have to cling on to right now. They hold on tightly to the memories and to the glimpses of you because ultimately no justice has been offered to this situation with this reversal, because the choice they feel like they've had to make, or you feel like you've had to make, or both of you have had to make, it feels unfair. If they can't be with you in person, at the very least, they can indulge in these memories or in these old photographs or videos, because that's all they've got and it's all they can currently grasp. That's why they have their little private time thinking about this, because it's better than nothing. Sometimes it's all they can do to stop themselves running towards you with this Eight of Wands. Maybe if they look at you and they think you're doing okay, that kind of quells the impulse to reach out, because they know that you're okay and that's all they need to know. Obviously, if this is someone you're in a relationship with, but you're not seeing each other as much as you'd like, it could be when you go quiet or they don't see you posting or you don't respond, they want to rush towards you to make sure you're okay. So when they see that you are okay, you're just busy or whatever, it's like they're actually relieved, and it actually stops them checking up on you, because they want to check up on you a lot when they don't hear from you. They might worry about you. And if this is someone where you want to be together but you can't right now, it's like they want to rush in and say something, but they stop themselves because they have this thought of like, I'm doing what's best here, or I'm doing this for our benefit, or I don't want to hurt pal 3 anymore. And again, that goes back to what we said with these conflicting feelings, because they look at you and they want more than anything to be in your life. But if they see that you're doing your own thing or that you're happy, at least on a surface level, there's some element of them trying not to be selfish and actually trying to put you first. They're like, pal 3 is in a good place right now, and I don't want to come in and ruin that by confusing things. They feel like it would be selfish to reach out to you, so they push down their selfish impulses. Do you know what this is reminding me of, actually? This is reminding me of that scene. I think it's from the first season of The Vampire Diaries with Damon and Elena. The way that show had a chokehold over me, oh my god. If you know, you know. But it's where Damon is in Elena's room, I think, and he brings her her necklace, but he tells her he's got something to say, and she's like, why do you have to say it with my necklace? Because if she's not wearing the necklace, he can compel her to forget. And he's like, because what I'm about to say is probably the most selfish thing I've ever said in my life. And then he's like, I love you, and it's because I love you that I can't be selfish with you. So he says it, and then he makes her forget that he said it, so that she doesn't have to face a difficult decision, and so that that burden isn't on her emotionally. The clip of that will be here on YouTube somewhere if you haven't seen it and you want to look it up, but like that is the overall energy that I'm getting. It's like they're staying away from you because they feel like it would be selfish to come towards you. They'd be causing a disruption if they told you something. Eight of Wands can indicate traveling, so some of them could be in a different location. I think we mentioned long distance in the oracle. So they're checking on you as and when they can, because it's sometimes hard to talk. Maybe there's different time zones. You guys might not be able to have like a back and forth conversation because when they message, you're asleep or vice versa. So they take what they can get and communicate with you in the moments they can. Some of them could just be finding themselves, having a year out, just generally traveling, developing themselves spiritually, trying to enjoy their freedom. But again, like no matter where they are in the world, regardless of proximity, they are tied to you. But it feels like when they do come back, there's this knowing that they want to have all of you, or they want to give everything to you, but because they can't do that right now, because it's not the right time, when they do decide to come towards you, it needs to be right. They want to make it right, but they do feel very tempted because there is this infatuated, this sort of obsessive thing about checking in on you. Maybe they know that when they come back, it has to be something big, like they have to come and sweep you off your feet, but they can't do it right now. Maybe they're thinking ahead of how they can get back to you, and that's why they've been checking in, kind of figuring out where you're at. I think, you know, with this King of Pentacles in particular, something about spying on you maybe kind of motivates them to be better here. Just as a person, it feels like even looking at a picture of you gives them some kind of encouragement to work hard. This could be working hard towards being with you again, maybe working hard to build themselves up financially so that eventually they have the freedom to actually connect with you more. Maybe it's just working hard and bettering themselves as an individual because they know they can't connect or reconnect with you until they've done that. So when they see you living your life, it's like that continuous reminder for them to improve themselves, to focus on their goals, develop in terms of their maturity. And then there's this hope that eventually that you will find your way back to one another. It could be that spying gives them the reminder of what they're working towards. Like if or when you're not in contact, observing you in whatever capacity encourages them to keep going because they're working towards some kind of stability, whether it's financial or emotional. They know they need to be stable for you. They want to provide for you. They want to be faithful. But some of them feel like they have to stick to their principles here. comes back to that sort of thing of like, we can't be together until XYZ. They want to be someone you can depend on. They want to bring success into your life and not hardship. It could be that they have to be very careful in terms of their spying because other people are around, or they don't want anyone to know they're doing this. And it's hard because every time they do their spying, it re-solidifies these feelings for you. Looking at you maybe brings up a lot of emotions, but at the same time, with this tower here in reverse, they're averting something. They're resisting change. They're avoiding a loss. This could be a relationship with someone else they feel like they've put too much into to abandon. It could be losing a family member or the fear of that. It could be financial loss. It could be them refusing to leave a job even though it's coming in between this connection, or they know it's not the right thing for them. Something is getting in the way, but a part of them is feeling like they have to cling on to it, maybe because of external pressure or pressure they're putting on themselves to hold something together. But I think they know that this is just delaying the inevitable, like something from the past is going to come crashing down because the two of you are inevitable. There's something inevitable or fated about the connection, but somebody has to release something first. So let's move on and have a look at how they're feeling towards you, pal 3. Let's have a look at the next 4 cards. Okay, we've got the 10 of Swords. We've got the 8 of Swords. We've got Strength reversed. And we've got the 8 of Pentacles reversed. I'm getting that when this person thinks about you, a lot of it is more in relation to their worry in terms of how you think and feel about them. They get a lot of comfort out of looking at you, reflecting on memories, but there's a part of them, maybe because they're either not talking to you or they're not talking to you as much as they want to be. They're very concerned with how you're feeling. With this 10 of Swords, there's some guilt over severing ties. Maybe they feel bad that they had to sever ties, or they're feeling bad that they weren't able to sever ties in terms of another situation that's getting in the way of this connection. I think they're viewing themselves as a failure in that they haven't been able to be there for you the way they want to be or the way you needed them to be. One little sort of sweet thing is that they see you as their weakness. I think with this Strength in reverse, there's something about you that they can't let go of. They always have to come back to you or to check up on you. They have to take their little 10 minutes or whatever it is out of the day to think about you or to observe you in some way. They feel like they need that. They're attached to it. It could be that this person opened up to you a lot and they view you as somebody who they can truly be vulnerable with. Maybe that isn't a very common thing for them, but it's like the closer you got, the more they saw you as their pillar of strength. Maybe you gave them advice or they gave you advice. You just kind of leaned on each other, and now they feel like they don't have that. They could also be very worried that you're viewing them as weak or inadequate because they haven't been able to fully stick up for what they believe or stand up for this connection in some way. They haven't been able to fight for it, and they're worried that you think badly of them because of that. They're worried that you feel like they didn't put you first because they were being lazy, or because they didn't want to make the effort, they didn't want to commit, or because they were too careless with this connection. I think they're afraid of you being disappointed in them or thinking of them as a bad person because there's something about reputation coming through here. So for example, if this is like a failure to launch sort of situation, or someone had to pull back or create boundaries here, some of you could be feeling like, well, you know, this person must not care about me that much because if they did, nothing would get in our way. They'd make the effort. And I can't claim to know each and every individual situation, so obviously trust your own intuition. But there's something here where they're wanting you to know that that couldn't be further from the truth. It's like they had to back off or stay away or not make the effort because they genuinely believed that that was the right thing to do. Almost like they had to protect you by staying away. They don't want you to think that's like a cop-out because some of you might feel that it is, but on their end, they felt as though their hands were tied with this. They didn't have another choice. They felt trapped and restricted by something. So this could be that pressure put on them by that external source, or fear over repercussions or what someone will do if they decide to go after what they want. One example I'm getting is like them wanting to leave a situation but being threatened with something if they do. For example, if there's an ex-partner they've tried to cut contact with, but they've been guilted into staying because maybe this person has like mental health issues or codependency issues, and maybe they're threatening to even like do things to themselves if this person leaves. You know, it's like your person takes that seriously, so they can't see a way out of this. So maybe it's your person being put in a kind of toxic, or I don't want to say the word, but bad situation with somebody. I'll just say that, you know what I mean. Or it could be like family threatening them by saying they'll be cut off financially if they don't agree to be set up with someone their family has arranged for them to be with, depending on their culture and their beliefs. It could be a boss figure who is manipulating them by saying that if they leave that job, this boss is going to give them bad references and make sure they don't get hired anywhere else. So now they're stuck in this draining job and feeling like there's little that they can do to change the situation. They can't see a solution. And this can apply to various situations, obviously. Like if this is someone you're in a relationship with, but there's some level of disconnect, this could be a case of you thinking, well, if you really cared, you make more time for me, you tell work, you know, you're not doing that overtime, or you wouldn't be at the beck and call of this demanding family member all the time. You'd be putting me first instead of your friends all the time, something like that. But there's something where this person feels imprisoned by whatever's going on. They feel so helpless and powerless with this. Maybe it's just that they really struggle to say no to people, like they're a little bit people pleasing. They can't say no to whatever it is, but they know they might be hurting you by not doing something, and that's the last thing they want. So they feel like they can't win either way, so it's best to avoid the issue or not bring this up to you or stay away from you in certain cases. Some of them could be having their own mental health issues and they know they have to deal with those and get the help they need before bringing that to you. They don't want you to have to deal with that. So that could apply to those of you where someone has ghosted or they've cancelled a date. If they've told you it's to do with mental health issues, this isn't an excuse not to see you. It is like honestly genuine on their part. This person or you could have experienced changes in weight recently, but some of it could be due to stress. Eight of Swords can refer to weight loss, but I always think, you know, it can go both ways because people can stress eat as well. So to me, I always think it can go either way, just general weight changes. Some of them could just feel like they've bitten off more than they can chew in a certain situation, and now they don't know how to deal with it and they don't know how to find a way out of it. A lot of them, like we said in an earlier part of the reading, they're not happy. Whether or not they're pretending to be on the surface, they feel like their life is mediocre without you, or when you're not as big of a part of their life. They feel like they're in a really repetitive place with whatever's going on currently. They're not finding much joy in things, apart from those few minutes a day that they get to spend thinking of you potentially, or being with you in person face to face. If you do get a few minutes a day where you guys get to do that, that is their happy place, but they feel overburdened by other things. They feel very bored in other aspects of their life. For those of you where you feel like this person has been neglectful of you due to a work situation, on their end, they're just feeling like, I just have to do this. I'm not neglecting you because I don't want to make the effort for you. It's because I do want to get to where I need to be financially to progress our situation. Maybe they're wanting to believe that this is temporary. They can't see the way out right now, but they know that in the future they want to be able to provide for you and for you to be secure. So now they're working hard, but it feels like they're not prioritizing you or they're distracted. They could be in a little bit of a workaholic sort of mode. And for others of you, it feels like the best thing for them to do is just stay away completely and not involve you in their issues because it's just too much drama. Maybe they have a person around them who would try to cause drama for you if they knew about you, someone who plays the victim or who is attention seeking or dramatic, or in some instances is even quite violent or aggressive. They are hoping that you don't think that they are a doormat when it comes to this person. That could sometimes be how they feel, and they're worried that you feel that way. They hope that you know that they haven't betrayed you. That is something I'm getting. And obviously, that's not for those of you where you know this person did betray you in some way. I think it's more like if at one point you and this person were meant to be together and they then returned to another situation, but it was either out of convenience or as a way to placate this person who was threatening, or it was a way to keep safe. Like, if they feel like their safety or your safety would have been in jeopardy if they didn't go back to this person, because that could apply to a couple of people. It's like this is them trying to say, from the outside, I might be in this relationship, but my heart is still with you. I'm still bound to you. So it's more them saying they're not betraying the feelings they have for you and the feelings that they've expressed to you, because they always keep those close. No matter who they're with, it's like they're checked out of that other situation and they're only focused on you. Maybe this is them trying to tell you like everything is just a front, it's not what you think. If they post a picture playing happy families online, it's like behind the scenes there's no love. Maybe there isn't even intimacy. Or if there is, it's out of a sense of obligation of them like trying to do the right thing. But internally this person is like, when I get the chance to leave, I'm going to leave, but right now my hands are tied. they're not coping very well with this situation. Maybe all they can cling to is the belief that they'll be with you eventually. They know the situation they're in or that they had to return to is a dead end. They can't speak out about this though. They've been silenced by somebody or something. There's a lot of fear here. I think for some of them, there's a lot of personal guilt wrapped up in the idea of love. It's almost like they feel like they're being punished for falling for you. If you've ever had the chance to check out this person's birth chart, or you've looked at your synastry chart with them, you could have found that you have a lot of interesting aspects, particularly with Sun, Moon, Venus, Mars, maybe Chiron too, maybe some 4th, 8th or 12th house synastry, because I keep getting this thing about something has to be hidden or secretive, but it's a very strong, intense bond. That doesn't have to apply, but I know I have Venus in the 12th house, so one of you guys could have a similar placement, even if it's not in synastry, like it's just in your own chart. And I say that because I have Venus conjunct my ascendant, but because it's in the 12th house. I remember reading something that mentioned that can have a lot to do with unrequited situations or hidden love affairs, or even like more spiritual connections that don't always translate easily to the 3D. So that could apply for someone here. I also remember reading about Venus conjunct ascendant but in 12th house. It's like it can make a person have a very skewed perspective when it comes to love, or even when it comes to self-love. Because I know Venus conjunct ascendant in the 1st house is known as like the pretty placement, and that's true, those people are beautiful. But with Venus conjunct the ascendant in the 12th house, it can be like the person has a distorted perception of themselves, or they can't really see their inner or outer beauty, or something like that. Sometimes other people can see it, but they can't. And I know when I read that particular thing, I could definitely relate to it because I've struggled with body dysmorphia my whole entire life. I've definitely learned to be a lot more neutral about my appearance since I've grown up, but even now I've never been able to get a true handle on what I actually look like. I also have Neptune in 1st, so that could contribute and that could kind of confuse things. But this is something I've always struggled with. I've always not been able to see very clearly. It doesn't matter if other people point things out to me, I just like don't believe it. But I'm feeling with somebody here, it could be you or it could be this person or both, but there's been some self-esteem issues or someone struggling to see their worth or have confidence. Could have been from a past situation, or you know, maybe this is just how they are, but it's like the other person sees how beautiful they are. It's like they see each other's souls. So it's frustrating because it's like maybe this person kind of views themselves as inadequate or not good enough for you, and you're in turn kind of saying like, I don't care if you're not 100% healed or not 100% perfect. You are worthy, you do deserve love. But for some reason, maybe they feel like they don't deserve you, or they don't deserve you yet. They don't feel like they've worked hard enough to come towards you. Or it could be like, on the other hand, you struggle with confidence issues and this person doesn't want you to think it's because you're not worth the effort, because to them, you're the most beautiful person they've ever come across. And it's actually because they know you're worth so much more that they're staying away, or that they're trying to get better at something before they return. Okay, that was kind of heavy, but we're going to move on and we're going to look at this person's next actions. So what are they going to do towards you, pal 3? What are they going to do next in relation to this connection? Okay, so we have got the Star reversed. We've got the 3 of Swords reversed. We've got the 4 of Cups reversed. And we've got the Ace of Pentacles. Okay, this is a pleasant surprise. I'm going to say right off the bat, I don't think it's going to be perfect, but I do see some potential here. I wasn't at all surprised to see the Star reverse, I'll be honest. I think that solidifies what we've been saying, and that this person has been feeling hopeless when it comes to rectifying this. And I'm not going to lie, I do think that hopelessness is going to go on a little while longer. But with the rest of these cards showing up, I really do think this person is releasing some baggage and they are going to start seeing the light. But I always say, you know, the Star in tarot comes after the Tower. But as we saw earlier, we got the Tower in reverse. So there's still this huge need to let go of something, because we can't get to the Star upright unless we've cut the cord with something. And what I mean is, we can't get to the healing phase if we're not being honest about what is hurting us or what's holding us back. Like, of course, this person is going to be focusing on the negative when there's a refusal to leave a situation that is making them feel negative. So it seems like there's going to be a continuation of that sense of monotony and boredom with them for a while, but I do see that eventually this person is going to be realizing that essentially nothing changes if they don't change. So with the Four of Cups in reverse, I do see them gaining self-awareness around this current situation, and they're putting an end to stagnation. They're going to be making some kind of moves towards what it is they actually want, and I do think that that is you. Because I'm seeing that enthusiasm and motivation is picking up here. It's like them getting the sense of, I have something to work towards now, and they're seizing more opportunities. So it could be them actually reaching out and offering you a cup of something, communicating, trying to make plans, trying to progress this, and choosing to focus on the positive. They could be getting a new zest for life, or they could be feeling a burst of energy. But I think with this Three of Swords in reverse, they do have to release something first. They want to be proactive, but they can't be proactive while they're attached to that tower situation. So the next thing that's happening for them could be them experiencing some kind of ego death. Something could be crumbling and they might need some time to let go of it, to get over it. But eventually it seems like there will be a reconciliation in this connection. The Three of Swords reverse can talk about forgiveness, but I think a lot of this could be to do with you or this person or both of you forgiving yourselves first and foremost, because for some of you there's almost this sense of like, I didn't want any of this to happen, or I didn't expect to have these feelings, and there's some guilt or shame attached to that. So it could be working on releasing some of that and forgiving yourself for not being able to be the person you needed to be for somebody, but also acknowledging that you can't stay in an emotional prison forever. Also acknowledging that you can't continue to punish yourself for whatever happened or didn't happen here. Maybe this person or you or both, maybe this person or you or both of you felt like you were doing the right thing, but you're realizing that you need to do something new with this Ace of Pentacles. And I think the Ace of Pentacles is actually the most promising card we have showing up here, because this does indicate a fresh start and it also indicates security. So to me, that says if things have been very wobbly and uncertain and up in the air with this person, things are going to feel more balanced and stable within this connection. If things haven't really progressed to that stage, this could indicate the opportunity for that. You know, someone saying, let's give this a go. Let's start off small and let's just see where this takes us. We don't want to rush things. We don't want to ruin things, but let's do it. So it's this small offer, but it's something solid. It's something very concrete. For some of you, where you know who this is, but you have decided you don't want to return to that, this could be about finding a totally new person and having a fresh start with someone who will make you feel very secure. I think when this person does reach out, and I say when because I think it's a strong possibility, obviously energies can always change, but let's go with when. When they do, it's going to be like putting the past situations behind you, putting those to bed and focusing on the future. It's also not going to be a sort of frivolous, off the cuff, like, hey, how have you been? And then dropping off the radar. I think this is going to be a very solid offer, an actual concrete plan to meet or to talk at the very least. It's someone saying, you know, this past situation, it's done, it's gone, it's not a problem anymore. I've had my time to work through this. We've both had to be patient, but what now? It's just this feeling of excitement and potential. Maybe finally we can connect or reconnect or be together physically, and there's so much more we could explore together. Someone's been thinking about it for a long time. Maybe they thought it would never happen, but now it's here. It's like, here comes the solid offer. It's going from nothing to like, so when am I taking you out? Like someone trying to make an actual plan. That's what I'm seeing, but I do think this might not be instant because someone's still maybe going through it here. The Pentacles in and of themselves are slow moving, so I don't think it's going to be like a Knight of Wands where someone impulsively, drunkenly messages you, even if they've been tempted to do that at times. I think it's going to be more like they've kept you waiting a while, but when the offer comes in, it's not something half-hearted, it's deliberate and it's purposeful. That is what I am getting for your reading, pal 3. We are going to finish this reading with a little bit of closing guidance from the Moonology Oracle. So let's have a look at what we pulled for you. We have got Work Through Your Fears, New Moon in Scorpio. When I pulled that card, I instantly thought, his feed, not mine. This doesn't have to be a man that you're dealing with, but it's more like you're saying, Nosy Witch, show this to them, not me, because they're the ones who need to work on their fears. Maybe fears of commitment when it comes to this connection, or love in general, fears of being vulnerable or truly loved. It could apply to both of you, to be fair though, because I did keep getting some element of like shame or guilt arising here. So it could be that some of you are scared of changing your current situation to accommodate this person or this connection, because there's this deeply rooted fear that you're not worthy of love, or you think, but what if I give up XYZ to be with this person and it doesn't work out? Whatever that situation may be, the specifics don't matter too much, but maybe it feels like somebody has put too much into something to start a new thing now. They're worried that this feeling is just a trick or just an illusion. They're worried about giving in to what they want or about being selfish, particularly for those of you where like feelings started developing when you had another connection. Even if you've since broken things off with that original person, maybe you still feel a little bit of guilt at the prospect of choosing to be with this person because when you first connected, it felt wrong. So even if you're completely single now, you're kind of paranoid, like, will I be punished or will I get some kind of karma if I start something with them? What if I fall for them and then later down the line they fall for someone else? I don't know, it's kind of these conflicting emotions. And just to reiterate, this could be your energy, but it doesn't have to be. It could be more their energy, or it could be both. But obviously, you know, when we did look into this person's energy, there did seem to be a lot of fear and an inability to fully release something. You know, we saw that they felt trapped at the moment, so that's potentially something they're working through, something they're getting over. It might take them a little bit of time. With this new moon in Scorpio, Scorpio season could be significant to you in some way. Somebody here could be a Scorpio moon, very intense, very deep, very passionate, but a lot is hidden under the surface. A lot of this feels very controlled. They're very controlled in terms of holding back or keeping away from you, but on the inside, it's kind of chaotic. If either of you are worried that the bond is broken, but you have an intuitive knowing that it isn't, that it will never be truly broken, then this is confirmation, because there could be a lot of unspoken things here, but you just know that there's depth to this. It's an unspoken bond. If somebody's holding back right now, I don't think that's going to last forever. This person might have to go through some powerful transitions to get to where they need to be, but I do think eventually they'll be able to come to you and express their emotions more fully. It might be a bit of an explosive release of feelings that they've been holding back, but they might have to go through this emotional upheaval first and kind of like hit rock bottom before they can resurface again or become the person you need them to be. There's a lot of mystery right now, but this person, they want you to know that they're loyal to this connection, to your connection, even if it doesn't feel that way right now in the physical. Emotionally, it's this unbreakable tie. So that is what I'm getting for you, Pal 3. I really, really hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did enjoy the reading, please do me a massive favour. Please like the video. Please leave me a comment if you get a chance. Please let me know what resonated. Even if you're just letting me know which pal you picked, that all helps. If you don't feel comfortable saying what resonated, just tell me the pal you picked. And if you get a chance and you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing. I am trying to make my way to 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to do that. That is the best and easiest way to support me and it'll take you literally 2 seconds. So go ahead and do that if you haven't done so already. But I really, really hope you enjoyed the reading. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. Take care of yourself, Pal 3, and I'll see you in the next one. Hi Pal 4 Collective, if you chose the Weird Cat Tarot and you chose the Tiffany sticker, you are in the correct place. Welcome to your reading, friends. This reading is all about who is spying on you and why. They're peeping, they're creeping, but what do they want with you? We are going to be diving deep into who this is, their energy towards you and the connection, why they're spying, how they are feeling about you, and their next actions. If you would like a full breakdown regarding what this reading will entail, then please check out my introduction. I go through absolutely everything there. But as usual, we are going to start off with the oracle reading / energy check. So I am actually just going to pop your tarot cards to one side for now so we can focus on these oracle cards. Let's have a look at what we pulled for you, Pal 4. Okay, so we have Do Not Push Me. Starting off strong, we have Homeless, Failure, Castaway, Poor. Great. This is great so far. We have number 9, Protection, Onion. And we have Chance. Let me just check everything's in frame. I'm just going to start off the oracle portion of this reading by reading from the guidebook regarding this Chance card in case this is relevant to this connection. This could be this person, it could be you. So let me just have a look at that. Okay, we've got Chance. You are going to be taking a chance and rolling the dice of life. A new beginning awaits and the universal powers are asking for a leap of faith from you. The next step on your path is not lit and it is yet to take physical form. Right now, it is a dark, blank stretch of canvas. It is you and your self-belief combined with your infinite strength, which will illuminate your path and build your surroundings into something real and tangible. When we are asked to take a leap, it is human nature to question it. It is normal to think of all which can go wrong and all that stands in your way. But when we are reminded of the ageless depth of our soul and the countless times it has taken a chance, It's clear to see the universe is on your side, the cosmos is in your corner, so leap and see whether you fly or fall. There is still beauty in falling, of having tried, or don't take that step into the unknown and be forever left wondering. Oh, I forgot to mention, I usually like to start off by mentioning the numbers on the cards in case any of these are significant to you in terms of ages, dates, angel numbers, synchronicities you are seeing a lot of, etc. These don't have to apply, but it's just that little bit of extra confirmation if they do. So here we have number 53 and number 9. Go ahead and look those up if they mean anything to you. But what I wanted to say firstly is I feel like this is someone you know is spying on you, Pal 4. They've made it obvious that they're interested. They want a chance with you, or they want another chance with you in some instances. I think this is probably someone who has tried to shoot their shot with you at least once in the past. Maybe not in the right way, though. Like, maybe on your end, you could be like, well, wait, like, that was them shooting their shot. Didn't seem like it. They didn't go the right way about that. But you could, like, at the very least know that they're attracted to you on some level. I think this is someone who has been trying, or they're going to keep trying. Because if you don't try, then you don't get. Like, if you don't try, then you'll never know. And this person wants to know. With this chance card, it's making me think like they're going to take a gamble, or they're going to try their luck with you. Maybe they are a bit of a gambler. Could be literally like they like to gamble as a hobby, or in terms of their personality, like they're a bit of a risk taker. If they see something they want, they'll go after it. It's that kind of thing. But with this do not push me, it's kind of making me feel like this might be someone who rubs you up the wrong way, or that was how you felt initially when you met them. Maybe this person winds you up, or they try to be playful or have banter with you, but it just ends up annoying you, and you're like, do not push my buttons today, or do not test me today. You're firing warning shots at them. You're like, not today, Satan. But I think they do test you deliberately, and it's like they observe your reaction, and they're like, well, Pal 4 didn't respond too positively to that. Next time we'll try this. Or Pal 4 seemed to like that joke. Maybe I'll make jokes like that in the future. It's like they want to try different things to see which method works the best. It's making me think of someone rolling the dice and being like, if it lands on this number, I'll be nice to Pal 4 today. But if it lands on this other number, I'll wind Pal 4 up today. I don't think that all of it is malicious, but it's like they approach you with different energies depending on the day, because maybe they feel like you give them a different energy depending on the day, or depending on how they approach. And it really doesn't matter to them as long as they're interacting with you, or as long as they've got your attention in some capacity. I honestly think as well, like, if you have to put them in their place a little bit, like if you tell them off, it kind of turns them on a bit. They're kind of into it. They do things deliberately so that you'll shout at them or boss them around a little bit. They sort of enjoy that they can like push your buttons or get a rise out of you because they're attracted to that. I don't know. If this is a colleague, for example, it could be that this person finds creative ways to distract you, or they keep trying to make jokes or trying to talk to you, or they sing or they hum near you to get a reaction. And when you snap, or you're like, can you just be quiet? I'm trying to concentrate. It makes them laugh. They like to be acknowledged by you, even if it's for a telling off, essentially. This could be someone younger. It doesn't have to be, but I feel like it's someone who is slightly immature. You know this about them. This has come through in a number of my readings, so if you've ever watched any of my readings that are about another person, I do have a few like that. It could be that same energy coming through, but it's like this is a person who will tease as their way of flirting, or they go from moments of being cute and sweet to a little bit mean, like they don't want to express vulnerability or something, but it just comes off as a little bit stunted. These specifics will obviously depend on where you're at with them, because for some of you, this is more of a flirty acquaintance, and I'm not sure if the feelings are mutual. So maybe you're not into them, or maybe you're unsure whether or not you are, or maybe there's something, but they kind of get on your nerves a bit. And for others of you, this is somebody who wants another chance with you, but they've used all the chances you're prepared to give them. So now, even if you do still have feelings for them, or you had feelings for them at one point, regardless of whether you do or you don't, everything they do just annoys you. All their little attempts to return to you just get on your nerves because you've been there, done that, it's not happening again. It really does just depend what kind of relationship you have. Like how far you'll go with each other is dependent on, I suppose, the depth of your connection, how well you know each other. But this is definitely the kind of person who makes flirty little jokes or offers as a way of testing the water with you. But when they feel like they don't get what they want from you, they kind of take it back as a way to protect their ego. So sometimes what they say can be sweet, but then they always do this thing where they go and ruin it, they sabotage it. One example could be like, they make a comment about taking you out on a date, and you're maybe a little bit open to it, or you're just joking around and you're like, oh, where would you take me? And they say something cute like, well, I can tell that you're classy and you deserve to be taken somewhere fancy. And you're like, oh, yeah? And they're like, yeah, so I'm going to treat you to McDonald's fries in the back of my car. And when you're like, yeah, no thanks, they say something to fuck it up more like, well, it's better than most people on my roster get. You should count yourself lucky. And it just puts you off. You're like, ugh, what even was that? Was that their attempt at flirting? It obviously won't be that example, but the thing is, what they were initially saying about you being classy in that particular example, the thing is they actually mean that, but they almost have to disguise it with some kind of insult or some sneaky way to degrade you or to downplay it, because they actually see you as so far above them, and they don't want to feel like they're giving you too much in terms of compliments or whatever, because they think that you'll reject them. So they have to shield any compliments they give you with a good peppering of like putting you in your place. It's hard to explain. Obviously, if you guys have actually been in a relationship in the past, there could be different levels to this, but they could try to test the waters with you, but then deny that they're doing this when it doesn't go their way. Like, one example could be them asking, do you think the two of us would ever get back together? And maybe you just say to them, I don't see that happening. And they're like, no, me neither. I just wanted to see what you said, but I really don't want that. In fact, I've moved on and I've got 10 dates set up this week. So I was just checking that you definitely don't want me back, because I definitely don't want you back. It's like this clear overcompensation and doubling down because their ego is hurt or because you don't respond the way they want you to, something like that. They don't want to seem desperate or beggy. I'm getting the phrase beggy, but some of them are unfortunately coming across the opposite of how they want to portray themselves. I think some of them do feel inadequate or like they're not where they want to be in life. And they want you bad, but it's like they don't feel like they have enough to offer you. They're not on your level or something like that. With this homeless card coming through, it's like they feel as though they're a charity case next to you or something. So a part of their defense mechanism is denying themselves what they want, because they know they can't bring anything to the table. They can't resist making flirty jokes or broaching you in some kind of romantic way, but then they confuse things by immediately taking it back. But they know it's because there's something here that they can't have. Some of them feel protective over you, or they want to be able to come in and protect you, but they know they can't do that with whatever is going on in their life right now. Some of them could very well be struggling financially, like they're in between jobs or homes right now. Some of them, it could be that they are homeless, like not forever, hopefully, but maybe they're looking for a place currently. Maybe they've had to move out or they've been kicked out in some instances. They've separated from someone and they had to vacate that home. A couple of them could be like sleeping in their cars or whatever, so they know it's not the right time to be starting a relationship with somebody. And maybe that joke about McDonald's fries is kind of like a hurtful truth. Like, they're not saying they want to treat you to McDonald's fries in the back of their car because that's all they think you're worth. But they're like, well, I can't invite Pal 4 over and cook an elaborate meal for them because I don't even have a house right now. Or I've had to move back to my parents' home. All I can afford are McDonald's fries. Maybe they can't even afford that. So they know that there's not much that they can give you. And I think particularly if this is a more masculine energy, they don't have to be, but if they are, it's like they feel kind of down about the fact that they wouldn't be able to provide for you. Even if you're not bothered about that kind of thing, regardless of your gender, like even if you like providing for yourself or you're very financially independent, whatever the case may be, they just feel like they don't want to be a person who comes into your life and makes it worse. They want to look after you, they don't want you to have to look after them. But the place they're at, they can't really do that. They don't want to make them your problem, so they present this bravado. You might not know some of this if this is someone you do not know very well, like they could have a brave face, or they're just so unserious all the time, like they make jokes all the time and you wouldn't know that their life is falling apart behind the scenes. They act like everything's fine, but they have a lot of worries going on. If this is an ex or someone from your past, it could be like they try and present you with this brave face, but you can see through it to some extent. But then if you ask them, like, is everything okay? They get defensive, or they're kind of like, yeah, it's fine, why wouldn't it be? They're sort of snappy, they're like, stay out of my business. Maybe if this is an ex who has been in a new relationship, it could be like things are falling apart with them and that person, but they don't want you to know that because it's like a pride thing. Because maybe they have this awareness that they failed with you, and allowing you to know that things have failed with this new person would be a huge knock to their ego. It would make them feel even more inadequate. They'd have to admit that they're the problem or that they have been in the past. Yeah, this could be a person who pushes your buttons a lot. If this is an ex and you are with someone new, or you are both with someone new, this could be the kind of person who sort of makes snarky remarks about the person you're with, but it comes from envy. So maybe if they've met your person, afterwards they've said something to you, as one example, like, oh, I thought they'd be taller, or oh, I wouldn't have put the two of you together. They try to put your relationship down because they're seething with jealousy. It doesn't have to be an ex, even, it could just be a crush. And if it's someone you work with, maybe, like as one example, maybe they've seen your current partner come to pick you up after work. Or, if it's on social media, they've seen a picture of your partner and they've said, oh, I wouldn't have thought that was your type. But it's like a thinly veiled resentment and envy that they're not in the place that your partner is. They're not in your bed at night or something. If they don't put your partner down, it could be that they put you down as a way to try to undermine you or make you feel insecure. Like, as one example, they could say, oh, your new partner is a lot younger than you, aren't they? I'd have thought they'd have gone for someone more their own age. Or, oh, your partner clearly looks after their body. Do they mind that you never go to the gym? It's one of those things, but it's because they want to be in the place of your partner, essentially. It's very strange. It's really weird. It's also quite hard to explain because it's very conflicting. This person, it could be like they're very attracted to you, but if there's some element of them having felt like they were too vulnerable with you, or that you saw them at their worst or something, it's like it's this dichotomy between extreme attraction but also extreme repulsion. And I know that sounds weird, but it's like the repulsion aspect is more the hatred that they aim inwards. It's hatred they aim at themselves and their disappointment with themselves for letting you see them in that way. I don't know if that makes sense, but one example I'm getting is like, if this is a man and you're a woman, let's say, and they have some kind of toxic views about feeling emasculated if a woman earns more than them, it could be that they're profoundly attracted to you, but they feel like they can't push past this barrier of you seeing them in a certain light because maybe in the past they've had to ask you for money, or they've had to sleep on your couch, or they've had to like ask you for something that they feel like they should be providing. So maybe they're like, oh, Power 4 doesn't see me as a man anymore. But that could just be them projecting something based on their views of what masculinity means, and maybe it's something kind of toxic. They don't have to be a man, apply it to whichever gender or genders you are interested in, but that's an example that came to mind. So it's almost this ego thing of like, I want to move towards Power 4, but I can't because they've seen the worst of me. And this is so embarrassing for them that maybe it kind of forces them to move towards someone who hasn't seen that side of them because that's easier for their ego to handle. So they stay attached to like superficial connections, but what they really want is you. It could also be they compare themselves a lot to other people their own age and they feel like they haven't gotten as far. They could be like, oh, most people my age have their own house, or they have this, or they've started a family, and I still only earn X amount of money, or I still live with my parents, I feel so behind, something like that. They think you have many other potential suitors who would be interested in you. So they're kind of saying to themselves, like, what could they possibly have to give you? Maybe they're snarky if this is like a work crush situation. If you're superior to them in some way or you earn more than them, they feel like they couldn't be with you for that reason because they want to be viewed as the provider. I don't know, it's something along those lines. Maybe you've been too generous with this person in the past, you've given too much to them, or they feel like you'd be being generous, giving them a chance or giving them another chance. But the reason I said this feels like you know who this is, or this could be obvious initially, is because of this onion, actually, because I got the image of onions sizzling in a pan, and it's like when you walk into someone's house and they've been cooking onions, you're going to know about it. It's that smell that hits you when you walk in the door. So maybe they've tried to hide or mask it, but it's pretty obvious, and I do think that you are onto them. But we are now going to elaborate on this energy. We are going to move along to the tarot. I hope you are enjoying the reading so far, and yeah, let's get started with your tarot. Hi Powerful Collective, welcome back to the tarot portion of your reading. Without hesitation, let's get started and have a look at the first 4 cards we pulled for you. Okay, so let's elaborate on this energy. We have got the King of Cups reversed. We have got the Ace of Pentacles. We have got Judgment. And we have got the Tower. Okay, I feel like the tower has shown up at least 3 times today in these readings. I've used 4 different decks, but this tower will not leave us alone. So there's a lot of powerful goings on in the collective. There's a lot of revelations happening. Yeah, definitely someone who is emotionally immature with this King of Cups, though, powerful. Some of them don't know how to handle their emotions. Some of them don't even know what their emotions are. Some of them are over emotional because they're all consumed by feelings, but they don't really know what to do with that. So it causes them to lash out, maybe by saying mean things or by taking things out on people around them. Could be with you sometimes. If you ask them how they're doing and they're like, I'm fine, why are you asking me that? But their voice is a slightly higher pitch, and you know, like something's definitely up, something's going on, then that is this person that we're talking about. It's because they're actually hiding a lot, they're repressing things, but sometimes these intense waves of emotion come over them and they're a little bit crabby, they're a little bit moody. Could explain why we said sometimes they show up acting nice and sometimes they show up trying to rile you up. You could be kind of put off by this person because you can feel that they're trying to manipulate you with what they say. They're trying to con you or elicit a certain reaction out of you. Maybe you're determined not to give them a reaction. And when I said the word con man, it made me think of like gambling man as well. So maybe this is a person who takes gambles with what they say to you, but maybe if they keep trying you, it's like one of these days they're going to push you too far and they're going to regret it. They could come across as cold sometimes, and that's off putting as well. But underneath, it's almost like they're this wounded child who is scared of getting hurt. The coldness is like this defense mechanism, like I'll hurt you before you hurt me. Some of them could have been a bit more withdrawn recently and you've noticed this, but they really don't want you to have noticed this. They don't want you to know that something's up with them, but it could be due to personal circumstances, but they just don't want to make you a part of that. If they're usually, you know, sort of jokey and smiley or laughing all the time, and they've been a little bit more quiet as of recently, that could be why. They have things going on, they're going through a tower moment. Seems like everyone and their dog is going through a tower moment right now. Like, what the fuck is going on? Some of them could have even gone through like a very recent upheaval. You know, this could relate to that example we gave of them leaving a home. They could have gone through a loss or a breakdown of a relationship and they're grieving. Either they could have lost like an actual person, a person has passed away, or they've lost a relationship with somebody. Some of them could have been struggling financially, they've gone through a bankruptcy, there's been a lot of chaos surrounding them, so they're more volatile than usual or not quite their jovial selves. They try not to show this though. A lot of them have been focusing heavily on their financial opportunities. They're trying to create stability for themselves. They're working on their savings, maybe. They're maybe trying to find a home, or they're trying to find a new job. They're trying to create some kind of security in their life because it's all a little bit of a whirlwind right now. They could be yearning for a new opportunity with you, whether it's a new opportunity because you've never ever been with this person before, or whether this is a fresh start with a person you've been with previously. This is something they're really wanting. They think there's potential. They don't want to miss out on something here. They could have been dealing with somebody in their life who has been snapping at them a lot or blaming them, and that's made them kind of snappy in return. They're trying to keep their composure with this judgment. They're trying not to let their emotions get the better of them, but sometimes things slip out unintentionally, they slip up. They could be experiencing a big awakening. Makes sense with us getting the Tower card, you know. They could be coming to some realizations regarding themselves, or maybe how they've treated people in the past, if that has ever been like not in a great way. They could be looking at themselves more objectively or holding themselves accountable. Maybe in the past their ego and pride has sort of protected them from holding themselves accountable, but now they're aware they were in the wrong about something, even if they aren't fully admitting to this verbally. It could just be them knowing that they're just not truly happy with where they are. They're thinking about where they want to be, and they know that if they want to go after what they want, they need to change something. They need to step up and be the person they need to be to manifest positive opportunities. Some of them could feel cheated out of something, or they cheated themselves out of something, or you feel cheated by something they did, or something that did or didn't materialize here. They might be hoping to renew things with this connection, or they're hoping it could be a fresh start for them. So let's have a look at the next 4 cards, and we're going to look a little bit deeper into why they are spying, pile 4. Okay. Okay, so why are they spying? We have the 6 of Wands reversed. We have the 8 of Cups. We have the 10 of Cups reversed. And we have the King of Wands. It's funny, the Six of Wands can indicate an unsuccessful campaign. And I just like the phrasing of that in relation to this situation because this person could feel like they're participating in an unsuccessful campaign to win your heart or to gain your affection. So, if this is a new person, it could be them spying to figure out how to do that because they haven't had the recognition they want from you yet. And if this is an old person, well, not old person, but if this is like someone from your past, it could be figuring out how to get back in favor because what they've shown you so far has been a disappointment. They know that you don't recognize them currently as someone who is worthy of your time. They want to show you that they are. So maybe in the past they've acted disloyal or they've broken promises, but there's something where they're now saying, like, that's not the real them, and they want to prove that they're doing something different, but they're just spying right now because they're lacking in confidence to really be open about that. Six of Wands reverse can indicate like pride before a fall, and it makes me think of this awareness that they've recently gained. This tower moment that they've had, this could have triggered this realization that either they were in the wrong about something last time or that their ego has been getting in the way here. And whether or not this is a newer person or someone you've been with before, I think this is some kind of recognition that pride has been a factor here. Like they haven't wanted to admit something even to themselves. Maybe they haven't wanted to admit what these feelings are. They haven't been willing to acknowledge that they have actual feelings for you. And that's why maybe they've gone back and forth between being nice versus being mean because they don't want to come across as weak and they don't want you to be onto them, even though I think you are. They could also feel almost like they're annoyed that they're attracted to you because they feel like a lot of people are attracted to you. And it's almost as though they're saying, I don't want to be like all those other simps who fall head over heels for pal 4. I don't want to be the sheep who falls for their charms. But at the same time, here they are finding themselves falling head over heels for you, but feeling a lot of frustration when it comes to that unidentifiable feeling. But it's like they've had their fall moment, either a moment where they are very aware that their pride or arrogance has gotten in the way, or a moment where they've been like, shit, I've already fallen. That's what this is. Like, what do I do with that? What do I do next? They now feel like they're at a disadvantage because they feel that way. They've been doing a lot of introspection and self analysis with the Eight of Cups. They've been on this journey of figuring out who they really are. But maybe with that, there's been this sense of disappointment because they're like, I'm not where I want to be, or I haven't been showing up as the version of me that I really am on the inside. I'm not who I'm presenting myself as. It's something like that. So it really is an ego death here because there's just this total dichotomy here between how they view themselves or between how they want you to view them and how they've been acting. And there's been this awakening period when it comes to this. And it's almost like they're wanting to acknowledge, look, I know I've been a disappointment. I know I've been a King of Cups in reverse, but actually on the inside, I'm the King of Wands. But they haven't been doing anything to show you that thus far. They're spying and figuring out how to approach you because they want to come in waving their big staff around and hoping you'll notice it because they think you and the higher version of them will make a good match. Because there's this side of them that is this natural leader, this funny, friendly, strong, confident, passionate person. Those are all King of Wands traits. And I think they also potentially see those traits in you. So there's a part of them that's like, we'd make such a good match, but they haven't been showing you any of these traits, or very few of them, or like it's few and far between. You know, maybe sometimes they're funny or you have seen glimpses of those traits, but then they do something to ruin it or just make it not cute anymore and it's just annoying. Because how are they expecting you to view them as that King of Wands if they've been in the opposite energy to that, or they haven't been showing that side of themselves? It's like their ego has been protecting them in that on the inside, they've been comforting themselves with this notion of, yeah, I might present one way, but on the inside, I know that the real me is this King of Wands. But it's like, how real is that version of them if it's only real to them? If they're not embodying any of these qualities, then it's just a fiction made up in their own mind. It's something they've been kind of using to placate themselves and say to themselves, I am a loyal person, I'm a passionate person, I'm an honest person deep down. And it's like, yeah, it's so deep down that nobody's ever even seen it. And maybe it's you who has made them question that because that's been very difficult for them to come to terms with. Because if this is someone from your past, maybe you've said to them, like, you know, you say you're loyal, but you've been disloyal in every single one of your relationships so far. Or you say, you say that you're a passionate person, but you never showed me that passion when we were together. Or even if you've never been with this person and you've said, like, well, you don't seem like a passionate person, you know, you just sit there and you make these snarky little comments, but you don't make any real effort. Or you say you're honest, but all I've ever seen you do is lie and make things up. Maybe they've had this awakening and this moment of realizing that what you've said is right and they have been putting a wall up. They've not been showing their true selves. And it hurts them to know that you might think of them this way, because there is this sense of that's not who they really are. So they may be spying to figure out how they can come in and show you something different. 10 of Cups in reverse can relate to losing a home. So this could apply literally, but it could also apply in relation to having to leave a situation with this 8 of Cups. They're spying because the current situation they're in isn't making them happy. Maybe they feel like they could create a happier home with you. They could have had to walk away from something or escape a bad situation, or maybe you walking away from them in the past has led to this realization, but it's taken them a while to get to the truth. They're spying because they've been feeling lonely a lot. Maybe they're looking for that security in you because they're lacking a solid foundation in their life currently. Maybe they are kind of like homesick for their life with you. They're hiding a secret about their current situation, maybe pretending it's all fine, but behind the scenes things aren't happy. There's a lot of conflict. Potentially, you know, this could be them separating with somebody. There's a lot of family dysfunction, a lack of teamwork, a lack of cohesion. They feel disconnected from a situation that they're in or they have recently been in. It could be that if this isn't in the recent past, maybe this person felt like they came from a very unhappy or broken home and they don't really know how to have deep connections with people. They struggle with true intimacy or vulnerability because conflict wasn't dealt with very effectively in their home growing up. So maybe now they've distanced themselves from this idea that they want a serious connection. They just run away when the going gets tough. And if they walked away from something, maybe they're now spying because they think that you've moved on and they're in regret over what went down here. Or maybe they just think they don't have a chance with you at all, even if you guys have never been together. So spying is kind of all they have. So let's move on and let's look at the next 4 cards. And the next 4 cards will be asking, how do they feel towards you, pile 4? So let's have a look at what we pulled for you. Okay, we have got the 5 of Wands reversed. We've got the Hermit reversed. We've got the 6 of Cups. And we've got the 6 of Pentacles reversed. When the 5 of Wands comes out in reverse like this, it can mean compromise and coming to the end of a conflict, but it can also refer to someone being aggressive or someone looking for an argument. And I feel like the way they feel towards you, it's actually both in this scenario, and that makes sense because we did speak about their moods kind of flip-flopping around, and you know, this being something that you've noticed potentially. So it's like one minute they're being cooperative and the next they're trying to get a rise out of you. And I think their higher self kind of wants to strive for this harmony, this peace. They want to act like a mature adult and be open with you, have honest conversations, and really show you that they can be mature, because there is this realization that they do have a lot of love for you and that you deserve more than what they're able to offer. So it's like maybe one minute you'll have dealings with them and you're like, the other day they were so hostile and now they're being really, really chill, or, you know, that conversation went better than I thought. And you get those moments of maybe they really are becoming more mature now, but then they'll flip-flop back to being that volatile, emotionally reactive person. And then it seems like they're just trying to start a dispute over nothing. And you never know what you're going to get on any given day. So one example of this could be like if this is your ex and you share custody of a child, for example, it could be that one day you co-parent really successfully or amicably, or they agree to have the children on a particular day because let's say like you have to go out of town for a work event, and one minute they're like, yeah, no worries, I'm happy to have Timmy that day. And then when you remind them of it a couple of days later and you're like, you're having little Timmy on Monday, remember? Suddenly they're like, I never said I could definitely have Timmy that day. That's not actually my day to have Timmy. You can't just drop Timmy off here whenever you feel like it, you know? It's like one minute things are Gucci and the next minute they're going back on what they said and causing conflict over this. And this does not endear you to them, like at all. Like if this is them trying to get in your good books or trying to win you back, it's not working. This is not the way to go about it because it's actually making your life difficult. It could be that this is triggered by something. So maybe if this is an ex, they've heard that you're dating somebody else. And even if you are genuinely going on a work trip that day that you mentioned in that example we gave, maybe they're like, I bet Pal 4 isn't really going on a work trip. I bet they're making that up as an excuse to go and see this other person, because maybe that's something they would lie about or they have lied about in the past. So it's like they're projecting their dishonesty, their negative traits onto you. So maybe that's why suddenly they've created these barriers, because they don't want you to go and see this person, and that's what you're doing in their mind. So they're trying to stop you doing something, they're getting in your way. It doesn't have to be someone you dealt with in the past. This could be a new person. And as one example, let's say that you work together. It could be that you want to go for a promotion, but if you went and got that promotion, it would mean you'd be moved to a different department or you wouldn't see this person. Or it could even be like you asked to change the day you work, and if you change that day, it means you won't get to see that person, like they don't work on that day or something like that. So it could be like 1 minute they're saying, yeah, you should go for it, or yeah, that would be a really good idea. And then the next minute they're getting in your way. They're like, I don't actually think you'd be good for this promotion. I don't think you could do it. Or they're like, no, you can't swap your days. We need you on that day. And you know that's not true. It's that sort of thing. A part of them is wanting to give you what you want because they want to see you happy, but another part of them is blocking you and being selfish because they don't want to see you happy with someone else or see you happy without them. It could be that they're very aware of the competition around, so if they hear that someone likes you or if they hear you've agreed to go on a date with a mutual person they know, maybe they try and start arguments about that. They're like, ew, why are you giving this person a chance? They're a creep. Maybe they're making things up about that person to try and alleviate the competition, but it's just making them sound really insecure. I think they have been feeling really lonely with the Hermit in reverse, but they feel like they can't open up about it. Maybe if you were ever a person who they could open up to, they feel like they can't without admitting that they were wrong about something. They feel like they can't let their guard down, they'd have to lose the ego to do that, and maybe they just can't quite manage that. They felt isolated. You've probably been able to tell that they've been withdrawn. Maybe they've been a bit more antisocial or not their usual chirpy self, but they just deny this when questioned about it. Six of Cups can indicate some kind of past connection, or it can indicate someone you have known for a long time. If you know this isn't the case with this person, it could be that when it comes to you, this person just feels a sense of nostalgia, like they've known you before, or like this is a past life connection, something along those lines. It could be a person who you have never been romantic with, but you've been friendly acquaintances or colleagues or friends with for a long time, but recently they've had a realization about more romantic feelings. Or it's the literal case of like you have had a past with them and they feel this sense of homesickness when it comes to you. They miss what you had. They think about the memories a lot. They feel as though you're someone they'd want to support or that you are a supportive person. Maybe they also think that you look younger than what you actually are, or there is something playful and innocent about your connection. It reminds them of a simpler time. For some of you, this could be someone you've known since childhood. Obviously, that won't apply for everyone. They feel like you're someone who they want to give to. They want to be generous to you. They want to share with you, but maybe they feel like they don't have much they can offer. They want to come in and protect you, though. They could feel like their childhood issues or their family dynamic has somehow gotten in the way of this connection. They feel like something in their past has influenced them to behave a certain way. It's like some of them are saying, maybe if I knew how to express my feelings, or maybe if I knew how not to be such a fuck up. It's like some of them are saying, maybe if I knew how to express my feelings, or maybe if I knew how to not fuck this up, maybe we could be something. Some of them are saying, like, maybe in another life, if circumstances weren't the way they were, things would be different. And the song that's just popped into my head is Self Control by Frank Ocean. And I feel like I don't even want to talk about that song because every time I hear it, it makes me cry and I feel like I'm tearing up thinking about it. But specifically, I'm getting the lyrics, wish we'd grown up on the same advice and our time was right. So maybe there's just this sense of we're too different, or we're in different places, or our upbringings are too different. They were only ever taught to love one certain way, and the way that you were taught to love was different, and they can't undo that. They feel like for them, the damage has been done, or they'll never be able to meet you where you're at. And they don't know if they want to waste your time trying. They go back and forth. I think it is a lot of conflicting messages here. So that song could be significant to you. A couple of other lyrics in that song that stand out to me are when he says, keep a place for me, I'll sleep between y'all, it's nothing. So they want you to keep a little bit of space in your heart for them. They don't care if you're with someone else right now. They want you to keep space for them. And the bit where he says, because I made you use your self-control and you made me lose my self-control, it's like maybe you had to set boundaries or walk away, or you've shut them down before, you've had to be controlled about it, but you make them feel out of control. You make them feel all kinds of ways and they don't always like it. that you have that impact on them. Maybe they pride themselves on being composed, but around you, they get all emotional. It's funny, they try to wind you up and play games, and then they find themselves being all over the place emotionally when it comes to you. With this Six of Pentacles in reverse, unemployment could be an issue that they're focusing on right now, and it could be that they don't want to tell you about this because they worry you'd see them as weak. They don't want to be a charity case. They don't want to put anything else on your plate. It could also be, particularly if this is a person you were once involved with at some point in your past, it's like somebody has told them something about themselves that they don't like, and that in turn has made them realize that you were not only correct in your assessment of them, but if anything, you were actually being overly generous. I don't know if that is going to make sense, but one example that I'm getting, it makes me think like if you lived with this person and you used to get into disputes over the distribution of chores, let's just say, this is just one example, but let's just say it's that. It could be that you ended up doing a lot for this person, but then when you vented your frustrations, this person will project onto you, or they'd say things like, what do you mean you do everything? I do everything. You're the one who's lazy. Or they'd say, like, you're nagging me. I don't have to put up with this. It always felt like things were unequal in some way, and it wasn't fair, but they deny that they were taking advantage. But then maybe when you kicked them to the curb and they went to go and find someone else, they quickly realised that actually they were taking advantage of the situation and that not everyone is as generous and supportive as you. They realised other people wouldn't put up with their behaviour, or maybe they ended up in a situation with a person who didn't pull their weight and they ended up in charge of everything, and it gave them perspective, and now they're like, you know, maybe this is how Pal 4 felt when I was treating them this way, or they're like, maybe Pal 4 was right, but a part of them doesn't want to admit that. It's like they undervalued you when they had access to you and now they're in regret over that. Oh no, not the consequences of their own actions. Okay, so they're feeling all kinds of ways, but let's have a look at their next actions, Power 4. Let's have a look at the next 4 cards. Let's see what we get. Okay, we have got the 7 of Cups. We've got the 2 of Wands. We've got the Page of Swords. And we've got the Page of Cups. Okay, they're still going to be doing some procrastinating here with the 7 of Cups, I'm not going to lie. A lot of this could be wishful thinking. They're going to be daydreaming about this a lot. Maybe it feels like there are too many options or there's too much going on to make a clear decision. They're confused. I think we all are. They're battling something right now. They're deciding which path to go down and they're conflicted. This could be deciding whether to stay or go when it comes to a certain circumstance. It could be a battle with their ego versus their heart, like whether to keep up that guard or whether to come clean when it comes to their feelings. It could be whether to be nice or whether to be mean to you on any given day. I am seeing that this might be a sort of back and forth thing initially, like this energy of cooperation, then suddenly, no, wait, fuck you, for no reason, it keeps happening, and you're left wondering, what the fuck? I'm right there with you, Pal 4. For some of them, it's like the decision has already been made for them, as in, if this is someone from your past who you are certain you are not giving another chance to, it's like they're in their head planning how to come towards you, they're fantasizing about this little life that they could have with you. And little do they know on your end, it's like, buddy, that's not happening, you're delusional. So this could all be an illusion on their end, especially if there's some element of like the grass is greener on the other side. So for example, if you know they're with someone but they keep trying to speak to you, or they keep liking your pictures or replying to your stories, even if it's to create conflict, it's because essentially they're thinking about you a lot and thinking that things were better with you. Maybe they're romanticizing their past with you a little bit. Or if they don't have much of a past with you, if they've never been with you that way, it's more wishful thinking and fantasy and daydreaming about what could be, about the potential. I do think with this Page of Swords, I'm not going to lie, I think they're still going to be a little bit petty for a while. I hate to say that, but they are. And it makes me think of that thing we were saying about them making, you know, like snarky little comments, maybe about someone else that you're dating, if that applies. It doesn't have to be someone you're dating, it could just be people in your life that you care about. Maybe they make comments about them, like just to try and rally you up. But in the example of you like dating someone else, it could be they find out you're seeing someone and they're like, really? Them? I think you could do better, Pal 4. Or like, I don't know, if you have them on social media, you post a picture of you and your current partner, and this person sends some catty little reply like, oh, is that your partner? I thought that was your dad at first, or I thought that was your mum at first. It's something totally rude and unnecessary, and you can tell they're trying to get a rise out of you. I do think, though, there's going to come a point when they know you're not falling for that and that it's not endearing you to them very much. So they're going to have to come forward and be direct. I do think they are going to be becoming more chatty with you. They might start trying to be more genuine, but the Page of Swords can indicate delayed news. So this could be saying you might need to be patient because they could still be showing up as a little guarded, but I do think they are going to be showing some level of vulnerability in the upcoming future. I think they're going to be trying to think before they speak or act, like they're actually trying to engage their brains before they say something, and they're also trying not to let their emotions rule them so much. They could be becoming inquisitive when it comes to you, maybe asking mutuals about you, or they could be asking you things more directly, speaking out about their feelings and the things that they're going through, if that applies. If they've been withdrawn, they could be coming out of this bad situation and becoming more friendly and more chatty again. If they've realized the truth about something and they choose to finally admit it to you, that will be a big deal to them. So it might be something where you're wanting to say, finally, you've admitted this. I've been saying this for years. But it's like they already know that, and it hurts their ego knowing that they've been wrong all this time. It's taken them a lot to bite the bullet and admit the truth about this. Some of them could be dressing better to try and impress you. I know that sounds random. It's like if you do see them day to day, they could be trying to entice you with their clothing choices or by smelling good. Maybe they've been spying on you and trying to find out what your type is, what you go for, what you like when it comes to a guy or to a girl, so they can sneakily morph themselves into that person, hoping that you will notice it and hoping that you will like it, trying to get your attention and your validation. They could also start complimenting you on your clothes or the way you look, and that might surprise you if that's kind of out of character for them. That's not normally something they would comment on. But I do think there is this effort on their part to start putting their ego aside a little bit. You could have seen some aspects of this already. They could kind of go back and forth between nice and petty. They could be opening up in some small emotional way and showing a bit more of their sensitive side in the future. They are probably still admiring you from afar to some degree, still crushing on you heavily. There could be something here about shyness or looking at you and then looking away, stolen glances. Maybe you catch them looking at you from the corner of their eye or something. But I do think they are going to start being more kind to you, and they're going to approach with some kind of romantic gesture. But I think it might still be in their kind of style, which might not be the same as your style or the way you would do things. I do believe that they are working on becoming more emotionally mature, and they have their moments where they can be, but I do think they go back and forth. This isn't really a linear thing for them. Sometimes you could have these moments of, that was mature of them, and then other times you could go back to, now they're behaving like a petulant child or a stroppy teenager. I think we got something like that in one of the other piles today. It could have been pile one, I'm not sure. But they are working on becoming more of the person they feel like they need to be. It's just, I think it's going to take them a while, and I think they're going to go back and forth. So that is what I'm getting for your tarot reading. Let's just finish this reading up with a little bit of closing guidance from the Moonology Oracle. So please bear with me, pile 4, and we'll see what we pulled for you. Okay, so for your closing guidance, we've got don't let pride get in your way, full moon in Leo. How funny. Yeah, we've spoken a lot about pride today. This person's pride getting in the way, this person not being able to put their pride aside. This person could be a Leo or a fire sign, or they have some Leo in their chart, or they have some kind of fixed energy in their chart, because it seems like this person can be quite stubborn. Leo season could have been significant to this connection, like you met them then, or someone walked away then, or someone has a birthday around then. None of this has to be the case, it's just a little bit more extra confirmation if any of these things apply. But yeah, I think this just kind of reiterates that there's a lot that this person hasn't let themselves believe when it comes to the kind of person they are, or when it comes to the connection between the two of you. And it does seem like they've been through, or they're going through, some kind of tower moment where their preconceived notions are all coming crashing down. And they've been faced with the reality about something, but this has been something they feel they've had to battle with. It could feel like this constant battle between their pride and what their heart wants. But I really think this is saying you can't make someone put their pride down if they're too concerned with holding on to it. You can't force a truth out of someone if they aren't ready to accept it themselves. You also can't put your life on hold for potential. You can't put yourself in a situation that isn't good for your well-being because you see the good in this person, or you know that they have good in them deep down. If they want to be with you, they have to actually step up to the plate and show you that they're good for you. And this can't be based on falsehoods or promises that they can't keep. They actually have to show you honest conversation or change behavior, whatever the case may be. They can't just say it, they have to do it, and that is on them. But it's also to those of you where you have a guard up or you've let your pride get in the way in the past. This could be encouraging you to not let that get in the way, or to not let it sabotage the relationship if you do really want to make it work with this person. Don't convince yourself, I don't even like this person, I don't even want this person, when you actually do. It's okay to admit that you have feelings. It's up to you what you do with them. And maybe not all of you do feel that way, and that's okay. Maybe some of you once had feelings and now you're like, that situation is done. What's best for me is not going back there. Maybe you're unable to have true feelings because this person isn't showing up the way you need them to, and it's off-putting. But for a select few of you, maybe it is a little bit of a pride thing because you do like them to some degree, but a part of you is like, well, they're not my usual type, or I didn't like this one thing they said or did. And in those instances, it's not telling you to ignore red flags or not tell this person when you're unhappy with a particular behavior, but it could be encouraging you to not rule someone out entirely because you don't have the exact same set of beliefs or because they rubbed you the wrong way on one occasion. It could be one or both of you is kind of like stubborn or combative. It could just be in relation to this person, but I'm hearing the phrase, they could start an argument with a paper bag for someone. They love a back and forth dynamic. They need that kind of stimulation. Some of them kind of thrive from it, or that could be you. There's a lot of strong energy here. It's powerful energy. I feel like you're both powerful presences. It does give me like a little bit of power couple vibes. And you have this type of connection where nobody wants to back down sometimes, and that can be frustrating, but I also do think it can lead to a lot of romantic tension and a lot of potential for passion if that applies. So that is what I am getting for the tarot portion of your reading, Powerful. I really hope you enjoyed this reading today. If you did enjoy it, please like the video. You'd be doing me a massive favour. If you get a chance, please give me a little comment, let me know what resonated for you, or just let me know which pal you picked if that's all you feel comfortable doing. That all helps me so much. Also, if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing. I am slowly trying to make my way to 1,000 subscribers, so helping me with that in any way you can really means a lot to me. Other than that, I just want to say thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me read for you. I really hope you enjoyed it. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one, Powerful.